Do you ever find yourself lying in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, and your mind just won't stop running? Like, you think about something small, maybe what you said earlier to someone, and suddenly it grows into a whole mountain of what-ifs and why did I say that? It's strange, isn't it? How our thoughts can take something so tiny and turn it into something so heavy. And sometimes, even in the middle of the day, while doing work or even just having tea, our mind is busy replaying old memories, old mistakes, or fears about tomorrow. Have you noticed how exhausting it feels? Almost like you're carrying an invisible bag full of rocks, but nobody else can see it, only you. Let me share something simple. Imagine you're holding a glass of water. It's not heavy at first, right? But if you hold it for 10 minutes, your arm starts hurting. Hold it for an hour, it's unbearable. Thoughts are the same way. It's not the thought itself, but how long we hold on to it that makes it painful. Welcome to Wisdom Woven. Here, we gently explore life, the mind, and the wisdom that helps us breathe a little lighter. There are so many beautiful souls watching these videos, but you know what's surprising? Only about 0.3% actually subscribe. Can you imagine? So if you find value here, please don't just watch and leave. Like, comment, share, and hit subscribe. That small action really helps this little community grow. Now, let's get into something deeper. Buddhism talks about how the mind has this restless nature. It keeps jumping like a monkey from one branch to another. And when we allow it to keep jumping, it never rests, never breathes, never feels peace. Overthinking is like feeding that restless monkey with endless bananas. But the beautiful thing is, Buddhism doesn't tell us to kill the monkey. It says, learn to guide it. Be gentle, be kind, and slowly the monkey starts sitting still. In the same way, your thoughts don't need to be forced away. They just need a little space, a little awareness, and suddenly they lose their power. Overthinking is not who you are. It's just a habit of the mind. And like every habit, it can change. Sometimes, all it takes is pausing, taking a single deep breath, and reminding yourself, I don't have to solve everything right now. And in that small pause, life feels lighter, softer, kinder. That's where our journey begins. The Buddhist view on the nature of thoughts. My dear friend, sit with me for a moment, as if we are sitting under an old tree while the afternoon sun is gentle and the breeze is soft. I want to talk to you about something that seems so close to us, yet we often don't really look at it. Our thoughts. People spend their entire lives running after them, being carried by them, believing every single word they say inside the mind. But rarely do they pause and ask, what is a thought? Where does it come from? And why does it feel so real? When you wake up in the morning, before even opening your eyes, sometimes a thought already appears. Maybe it says, today will be hard. Or, I don't want to get up. That little voice in the head seems so powerful, doesn't it? It feels like it can decide the whole mood of your day. Yet if you look carefully, that thought is just a soundless whisper in your mind. It comes and it goes. If you don't give it too much attention, it disappears and another one comes. Thoughts are like the passing of clouds, but most of us stand there pointing at one cloud again and again, saying, look, this is mine, this is important, this is me. And so we get stuck. The Buddha often compared the mind to a monkey, jumping restlessly from one branch to another. But he also taught us something deeper. He said, thoughts are not the enemy. They are simply movements of the mind. Just like the heart beats and the lungs breathe, the mind thinks. That is its nature. The trouble begins only when we mistake every thought for truth, when we cling to them as if they are unshakable realities. In truth, they are more like dreams, sometimes sweet, sometimes frightening, but never permanent. I once had a student who told me, "Master, my thoughts never stop. It feels like I'm drowning inside my own head." I ask him, "When you sit by a river, do you try to stop the water from flowing?" He shook his head and said, "No, of course not." "Then why do you try to stop the river of thoughts?" I said gently, "You cannot stop it, but you can sit by the bank, watch the flow, and let it move on." His eyes softened then, and for the first time he understood that peace does not come by fighting thoughts, but by not being pulled into their current. Thoughts, my friend, are not always harmful. They can also be seeds of wisdom, of creativity, of compassion. The same mind that worries can also imagine a beautiful garden, can remember the kindness of a friend, can reflect on the teachings of the Buddha. The problem is not that thoughts exist. The problem is our relationship with them. We treat every thought like an honored guest when in truth, many of them are just passing strangers. Some deserve our time. Many do not. Sometimes, when we overthink, it's like chewing food long after it has no taste. You keep biting and biting, but nothing nourishing comes from it. The Buddha's way is to notice when you are chewing too much and to gently set it down. This doesn't mean ignoring life or pretending problems don't exist. It means dealing with what is real and letting go of the endless commentary that makes life heavier than it needs to be. Have you noticed that many of your worries never actually happen? You might spend hours, days, or even years imagining the worst outcomes, and yet when the moment finally arrives, it is rarely as bad as you pictured. This is the trick of the mind. It paints large shadows where sometimes there is only a small stone. The Buddhist way is to shine a little light of awareness on those shadows, and suddenly they don't look so frightening anymore. Let me tell you a little story from the old Zen tradition. A monk was walking through the forest and saw a rope lying on the ground. But in the dim light, he mistook it for a snake and jumped back in fear. His heart raced, his breath grew heavy. Only after a while, when he looked again, did he see clearly it was just a rope. The fear had been created entirely by his thought, not by reality. Isn't that how we live most of our days? Imagining snakes where there are only ropes, imagining disasters where there is only ordinary life. When we begin to see thoughts for what they are, images, voices, flickers of the mind, we no longer become their prisoners. The Buddha encouraged his followers not to believe something just because the mind says it. Instead, he invited them to observe, to test, to see directly. Is this thought useful? Is it kind? Does it bring peace? Or does it bring restlessness? In this way, the mind becomes like a wise gardener, choosing which seeds to water and which to let dry out. You see, my dear, the nature of thoughts is not solid. They are like bubbles on the surface of a pond. Beautiful, fragile, temporary. When you poke them, they vanish, leaving no trace. If you learn to see your thoughts this way, overthinking loses its power. The mind becomes a place of gentle play instead of a battlefield. Sometimes, we think too much because we are afraid of silence. We fill the space with noise inside our heads, as if silence might swallow us. But silence is not empty. It is full of peace, full of clarity. In Buddhism, silence is the friend that shows us what is real beyond all the chatter. When you learn to sit quietly, the endless stream of thoughts begins to settle, and like a pond with still water, you can see your reflection clearly. There will be times when thoughts feel heavy, like stones in your pocket. You may wonder, why is my mind like this? Why can't I just stop? I tell you gently, don't be harsh with yourself. The mind is only doing what it knows. Instead of fighting it, bow to it, acknowledge it, and then guide it kindly. Slowly, It learns a new rhythm, like teaching a restless child to walk calmly beside you. Buddhism teaches us that behind all these thoughts, behind the noise, there is a deeper awareness, a pure stillness that is untouched by worry. Imagine the sky. Clouds may come and go, dark, bright, stormy, gentle, but the sky itself never changes. Your awareness is like that sky. Thoughts are only clouds. Sometimes they cover the view, but they can never damage the sky. If you learn to rest as the sky instead of chasing every cloud, peace will come naturally. So, what is the nature of thoughts? They are movements, they are stories, they are shadows and light. But they are not who you truly are. You are the space in which they appear, the awareness that notices them. Once you understand this, overthinking begins to loosen its grip. You no longer feel trapped in the endless loop. Instead, you smile at your thoughts, as if greeting old visitors, and you let them pass on their way. Even right now, as you listen, thoughts may be coming. I understand. I don't understand. Maybe this is helpful. Maybe it isn't. Let those thoughts be. Just see them, as if watching birds fly across the sky. Some are beautiful, some noisy, some silent. All of them are just visitors. You don't need to hold them. You don't need to chase them. And maybe, if you sit quietly after this, you will notice a little space between your thoughts. In that space, you will feel a lightness, a relief. That space is the true gift. It is always here, waiting for you, even when the mind is full. Stay with me, my dear, and let us keep exploring together. There is much more to see about this mind and its endless stories, and how Buddhism gently shows us the way to live without being carried away by them. Why the mind loves to wander. My dear one, let us sit together again, as if you and I are sitting beside a calm lake while the morning mist still touches the water. The world is quiet, yet if you listen closely, inside your head there is a restlessness that never seems to sleep. The mind drifts. It goes to yesterday. It jumps into tomorrow. It imagines things that never happened, and it repeats things that already passed long ago. You ask me, Master, why can't my mind stay here with me in this moment? And I smile, because this question has been asked by seekers for thousands of years. The truth is simple, but often hard to accept. The mind loves to wander because wandering is its habit, its survival skill, its old game. Long ago, our ancestors had to think ahead to protect themselves. They had to remember dangers, imagine outcomes, and prepare for the unknown. That habit of scanning, of worrying, of running ahead, still lives in us today. But while it once helped us survive, now it often steals our peace. We sit safely in our homes, and yet the mind still whispers as if a tiger is waiting outside. Have you noticed how the wandering mind rarely travels to peaceful places? It seldom sits with memories of kindness for long. Instead, it often jumps to worries, regrets, fears, and endless what-ifs. It is like a restless traveler who prefers dark roads instead of sunny ones. This is not because the mind is bad, but because it is deeply conditioned to protect you by focusing on problems. It believes, if I keep you busy with what might go wrong, you will be safe. But instead of safety, it leaves you tired, anxious, and far from the present. I once told a young monk who complained about his wandering mind, when a cow escapes from the field, do you beat it when it returns, or do you gently guide it back? He looked at me confused, and I explained, your mind is like that cow. It will run. It will wander. You cannot chain it forever, but each time you notice it has gone, you can guide it back with patience. That guiding is the practice. You see, Buddhism does not ask us to hate the wandering mind. It teaches us to understand it. Why does it wander? Because it fears. Because it desires. Because it remembers and imagines. In other words, the mind wanders because it is alive, because it is trying to protect and please you. But here is the paradox. The more it tries, the more restless it becomes. The more it chases safety, the more unsafe you feel. Let me share a little story. There was once a man who wanted to protect his house from thieves. So every night he walked from room to room, checking the locks again and again. He checked the windows, the doors, the cupboards, the corners. He never slept, always afraid. And in the morning, when the sun rose, he realized his house had not been robbed, but his peace was stolen by his own suspicion. The wandering mind is like that man, always searching, always preparing, but in the end, it steals more from you than it saves. If you sit quietly and watch, you will see how quickly the mind runs away. You may be eating, and the mind is already at tomorrow's meeting. You may be talking to a friend, and the mind is replaying an old argument. You may be watching the sunset, and the mind is busy making a list of things undone. The body is here, but the mind is everywhere else. This is the suffering of a wandering mind. It robs us of the joy of being fully alive. But do not despair, my dear. The wandering mind is not your enemy. In fact, it can be your teacher. Every time it runs away and you notice it, that moment of noticing is a tiny awakening. It is the moment you step out of the dream and see clearly. At first, this may happen rarely, like lightning in the night sky. But slowly, with kindness and patience, it becomes more frequent, until you realize you are not the wandering mind. You are the awareness watching it. Many students ask me, "Master, is it wrong that my mind wanders?" I tell them no, it is not wrong, it is natural. What is important is what you do when you notice. Do you judge yourself harshly, saying, "I cannot focus, I am a failure," or do you smile and say, "Ah, my mind wandered again, let me gently return"? The second way is the Buddhist way. It is soft, compassionate, and it slowly transforms your relationship with the mind. Imagine a child running into the forest again and again. If you shout and scold, the child becomes afraid and runs further. But if you open your arms and wait, the child eventually comes back, feeling safe. Your mind is that child. It needs gentleness, not punishment. That is why the Zen path teaches patience above all else. Without patience, practice becomes a burden. With patience, practice becomes a joy. The wandering mind also teaches us impermanence. No thought stays forever, even if your mind is caught in a loop, repeating the same fear. If you observe carefully, you will see each thought has a beginning, a middle, and an end. They arise like waves, peak for a while, and then dissolve. By noticing this, you learn to trust that nothing, not even the restless wandering, lasts forever. This brings a quiet strength, a calmness that grows deep within. Another reason the mind wanders is because it seeks pleasure. It remembers the sweet taste of yesterday. It imagines the success of tomorrow. It dreams of what could make life better. The problem is, by chasing those pleasures, it forgets the joy that is already here. Like a thirsty man running past a fresh spring, always looking for water somewhere else. Buddhism teaches us to pause, to taste the water that is already in our hands. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. When you breathe, just breathe. This is how the wandering mind slowly learns to rest. There is an old Zen saying, "When walking, walk. When eating, eat. Above all, do not wobble." The wobble is the wandering. The practice is simply returning again and again, not with force, but with kindness, like guiding a bird gently back to its nest. Sometimes, The wandering mind can even be a source of creativity. Many poets, artists, and thinkers find inspiration in the drifting of thoughts. But here is the difference. When they notice the mind wandering, they shape it into something beautiful instead of being trapped by it. They use the wandering as a tool, not as a cage. In this way, the wandering mind is not destroyed but transformed. So why does the mind wander? Because it is restless, because it remembers, because it imagines, because it fears, because it desires. It wanders because that is its habit. But you, dear one, are not only the habit. You are the awareness behind the habit. Once you see this clearly, you no longer chase every thought, nor do you fight them. You simply let them come and let them go, like a host greeting and bidding farewell to many guests. Stay gentle with yourself. Even if your mind wanders 1,000 times in a single sitting, what matters is that you return 1,001 times. That returning, again and again, is the heart of the practice. It is like coming home after being lost in many roads. Each return makes the home feel warmer, safer, more real. And slowly, you will notice something extraordinary. The more you accept the wandering, the less it controls you. The more you smile at the restless monkey, the sooner it climbs down from the branches and sits quietly beside you. This is the beauty of the Buddhist way. Not to crush the mind, not to silence it by force, but to befriend it until it finds rest naturally. So remember, the mind loves to wander, yes, but you do not have to wander with it. You can sit, watch, breathe, and let it run its little games while you remain steady, like a mountain watching the passing clouds. This steadiness, this gentle watching, is the beginning of true freedom. Overthinking versus mindful reflection. My dear one, let me tell you something simple yet very important. The mind is like a tool, a knife you hold in your hand. If you use it carefully, it cuts vegetables, it helps you cook, it serves life. But if you keep swinging it around without awareness, it cuts you, it hurts others, it creates wounds that take long to heal. In the same way, our thinking can be used as a tool for reflection, for wisdom, for kindness. But when we don't use it with care, it turns into overthinking, and then it becomes a source of suffering. People often come to me and say, "Master, what is the difference? Isn't thinking and overthinking the same?" I smile, because this is the root of much confusion. Reflection is like drinking water when you are thirsty. Necessary, nourishing, calming. Overthinking is like drinking salty water when you are thirsty. It looks the same. It feels the same at first, but it leaves you more empty, more restless. Reflection helps you understand and act, while overthinking keeps you stuck in circles, moving but never arriving. Once, a farmer visited me with worry written all over his face. He said, "Master, my crops are not growing well this season. I think about it every day. Maybe I should change the soil, maybe the seeds, maybe I should sell my land, maybe I should give up farming. I cannot sleep. I cannot eat." I listened to him quietly and then asked, "Tell me, have you actually gone to the field and touched the soil with your hands?" He looked surprised and said, "No, I am too busy thinking about it." That is the difference, my dear. Reflection means going to the field, touching the soil, seeing clearly. Overthinking means sitting at home, imagining the soil 1,000 different ways, but never knowing its reality. The Buddha's teaching is clear on this. Thinking is not wrong. In fact, wise reflection is a great strength. But thinking must be grounded in awareness. It must be connected to the present moment. Overthinking is when we lose that connection, when we are lost in the fog of our own imagination. It is like walking through a forest without ever looking at the trees, only chasing shadows in your head. Let me share another story. A monk once asked the Buddha, "Is it good to think about life, about suffering, about the path?" The Buddha replied, "Yes, but like a bee collecting nectar. The bee lands gently on a flower, takes only what it needs, and flies away. It does not crush the flower. It does not carry more than it can hold. In the same way, reflect on life gently, take what is useful, and then let go. Do not crush yourself with thoughts. Overthinking often comes from fear. You are afraid to make the wrong choice, so you keep turning the options in your mind again and again, like a bird circling the same tree without ever landing. Reflection is different. It looks, it considers, and then it rests in a decision. Reflection has an end. Overthinking has no end. Reflection brings clarity. Overthinking brings confusion. Reflection is like sitting under a tree and enjoying its shade, while overthinking is like digging the soil around the roots again and again until the tree itself begins to die. Sometimes I tell my students, your thoughts should be like a guest who visits for tea. You welcome them, you listen for a while, and then you let them leave. Overthinking is when you make the guest stay forever, even when you are tired, even when the tea is cold, and then you blame yourself for feeling heavy. Reflection knows when to stop. Overthinking never knows when to stop. I want you to notice how your body feels when you reflect and when you overthink. Reflection feels light. It may even feel refreshing, like a gentle rain washing the dust away. Overthinking feels heavy, like carrying a sack of stones on your back. Reflection gives you energy to act. Overthinking takes away the energy even before you begin. If you listen closely, your body always tells you the difference. There was once a young student who asked me, "Master, how do I stop overthinking?" I told him, "You cannot stop by force, but you can learn to see clearly. Each time you notice your mind spinning in circles, pause and ask, is this thought helping me? Is it bringing me closer to peace or further away? If it helps, keep it for a while. If it does not, gently bow to it and let it pass." That is the art of reflection. It is not about killing thoughts, but about knowing which ones deserve your attention. The wandering mind is natural. It is like the wind, always moving. But you must learn to build sails, not just let the wind blow you in every direction. Reflection is the sail. It gives direction to your thoughts. It turns movement into progress. Overthinking is like drifting without sails, spinning endlessly in circles, never reaching the shore. Sometimes, people confuse reflection with worry. They say, "I am just preparing, I am just being careful." But true reflection always leads to a sense of calm readiness, even if the answer is not fully clear. Overthinking leaves you more uncertain, more restless, more anxious than before. It is like the difference between a candle and a fire. A candle lights your way, steady and gentle. Overthinking is like a fire that burns uncontrolled, leaving smoke and ashes behind. So, my dear one, do not fear your thoughts. Do not run away from them. Simply learn to taste them the way you taste food. Some are nourishing, some are bitter, some are poisonous. Reflection is choosing wisely what to taste, what to swallow, and what to leave behind. Overthinking is swallowing everything without looking, and then wondering why your stomach hurts. When you reflect with awareness, even difficult problems become lighter. You see them as they are, step by step, without making them bigger than they need to be. Overthinking, on the other hand, paints the problem larger and larger, until it looks like a mountain blocking your path. Reflection sees the mountain and begins to walk around it. Overthinking stares at the mountain and says, "I will never move." I say this gently. Learn to sit quietly with your thoughts. Let them come. Let them go. Touch them with awareness, but do not hold them too tightly. Like holding a bird, if you grip too hard, it suffocates. If you hold too loosely, it flies away without teaching you. The right balance is the middle path, soft, gentle, mindful. This is reflection. Over time, you will see how beautiful the difference is. Reflection brings you closer to yourself, closer to truth, closer to peace. Overthinking only takes you further away. And once you learn this difference, your mind begins to settle. It begins to trust that not every thought must be followed. It learns to rest, like a tired traveler who finally finds a home. Stay with this lesson, my dear. Each day, when your mind begins to race, ask yourself, am I reflecting or am I overthinking? This simple question can open the door to freedom. And slowly, step by step, you will see that you no longer live in the prison of thoughts, but in the gentle garden of reflection. The trap of endless what-ifs. My dear friend, let us sit together quietly and talk about something that I see in so many hearts. This habit of the mind, this endless loop of what-ifs. It is like a river that never stops flowing, always turning over stones, always imagining dangers, always whispering possibilities that may never come. You wake up in the morning, and the mind is already running ahead. What if today is bad? What if I fail? What if I say the wrong thing? And then, the whole day feels heavy before it even begins. Isn't it strange how the mind works like this? Always planning, always fearing, always imagining shadows on walls that may not exist? The what-ifs are clever. They hide under the guise of caring, of preparation, of responsibility. They say, I am thinking so you can avoid mistakes. But in truth, they do not help you. They trap you. I have watched many people carried by these what-ifs, worrying for hours, days, sometimes years, imagining problems that never arrive. And while they imagine, they miss the sweetness of what is already here. A child laughing, the warmth of sunlight on your face, the quiet comfort of a cup of tea. These simple joys are hidden behind the curtain of what-ifs. Let me tell you a story from long ago. A young monk came to me, his eyes weary and restless. He said, Master, every night I lie awake thinking about all the things that could go wrong tomorrow. I cannot sleep. I cannot eat. I feel trapped. I asked him to take my hand and walk outside. We walked under the stars, and I said, Look at the sky, my young friend. The stars do not worry about the clouds passing in front of them. They shine anyway. Why do you carry storms inside when there is peace above? He looked at me, confused at first, then slowly, as if he had remembered something forgotten, he smiled. That night he slept. Not perfectly, but for the first time in many nights he rested. The mind loves to dwell on what-ifs because it fears the unknown. It wants control over everything. But the truth, my dear, is that control is an illusion. Life moves like the wind, unpredictable, soft, sudden, gentle, harsh, all at once. You cannot capture it in your hands, no matter how hard you try. When you chase every what-if, you only exhaust yourself. It is like trying to hold water in your fist. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. I often tell my students to notice the pattern. The mind says, what if I am not enough? What if they are angry? What if I fail? And before you know it, the day is gone. The body is here, but the mind has traveled far, to places that do not exist. The what-ifs are ghosts. They haunt, but they are not real. And yet, so many of us feed them, and so many of us mistake them for truth. You may ask, Zen Master, is it wrong to think about the future? Should we not plan, prepare, imagine outcomes? My dear, planning is necessary. Reflection is wise. But the endless loop of what-ifs is different. Reflection looks at reality, sees clearly, considers options, and then rests. What-ifs are like a storm with no end, never reaching a conclusion, never bringing peace. Reflection nourishes. What-ifs drain. Reflection builds. What-ifs destroy. Let me explain it another way. Imagine you are walking through a forest, and you come to a fork in the path. Reflection is like looking at both paths, noticing where the sunlight falls, hearing the birds, considering what seems safest or kindest, and then choosing a path and walking it. What-ifs are like standing at that fork all day, imagining every possible danger, imagining yourself falling, imagining getting lost, imagining the path behind you collapsing, imagining storms, imagining wild animals. The forest is still there, but you never move, never breathe, never feel the earth beneath your feet. That is the trap. I have seen wise people caught in this trap. They know about life, they know about mindfulness, yet at night, the what-ifs arrive and steal their calm. They imagine conversations they never had, mistakes they never made, futures that never exist. And the more they try to ignore it, the louder it becomes. That is why force never works. You cannot chase the what-ifs away. You cannot scold them, beat them, or push them out. You can only notice them, breathe with them, and slowly, ever so gently, let them dissolve. There is a practice, my friend, that I often teach. When a what-if arises, do not fight it. Sit quietly, breathe, and say, I see you, little thought. I hear you. But I am not you. You are passing. I am here. And if you do this again and again, day after day, something magical happens. The mind begins to understand that not every thought needs attention. Not every shadow needs chasing. You do not need to live in imagined storms. The real storm, if it comes, will come, and only then will your calm mind be ready to face it. Sometimes, the what-ifs arrive like waves on a quiet lake. They disturb the surface, and you may feel pulled under. But look closely. The lake itself has not moved. It is only the surface. Beneath, the water is calm, deep, still. You are like that lake. The what-ifs are waves. They may splash, they may feel strong, but they cannot touch your essence. If you can remember this, even for a moment, the power of the what-ifs begins to shrink. I once saw a student who was anxious about an important meeting. For days, he said to himself, what if I make a mistake? What if they laugh? What if they criticize me? Each day he grew thinner, more restless. I told him, go to the meeting, do your best, and remember, the future is not yet here. Why carry it today? He hesitated, but then he went, and he returned smiling. Nothing terrible had happened. Only his mind had been busy creating shadows. The lesson is simple, yet profound. Most of the fear we carry never walks into our reality. Many people do not realize this. They live months, even years, in the land of what-ifs, imagining the worst, replaying the worst, preparing for the worst, while life, quiet and patient, waits for them to arrive. And when they finally open their eyes, they see that the worst was never real, only imagined. The Buddha said, do not live in dreams. Do not suffer in shadows. Live in the moment, in clarity, in awareness. Overthinking and what-ifs are closely related, yes, but I want you to see it as a teacher, not a curse. Notice how the mind invents scenarios, how it predicts trouble, how it paints fear. And then slowly breathe, and let each scenario pass like clouds across the sky. Do not cling to them. Do not chase them. Do not feed them. Simply let them float, and return to the present, to what is real. The clouds may return tomorrow, the day after, and you will return too, again and again, learning patience, learning gentleness. There is a beauty in this practice. Each time you notice a what if, and do not chase it, you grow stronger. Each time you let it pass, you create a small space of freedom. And in that small space, peace begins to whisper. The mind starts to rest. Life becomes lighter. You realize that the storms were never outside. They were inside, and you are capable of letting them settle. Even when the what-ifs are loud, even when they are persistent, remember this: they are only thoughts. They are not you. You are the sky, wide, calm, unshaken, while the clouds of fear and doubt drift by. With practice, with patience, with gentle awareness, you will no longer be carried by every wave. You will stand in the center of your own calm, smiling at the clouds, feeling the wind, breathing and living. And my dear, this is not a distant dream. You can begin right now. Take a breath. Notice a what if. Watch it and let it pass. Do this again and again, with a smile, with gentleness. You are teaching your mind a new way to be, a way of freedom, a way of clarity, a way of peace. And slowly, slowly, the endless what-ifs will lose their power, learning to let thoughts flow. My dear friend, let us sit together under the soft light of the afternoon sun and speak about a truth that is simple, yet so easily forgotten: the art of letting thoughts flow. So many of us clutch our thoughts tightly, as if holding a precious stone that we fear losing. We worry, we analyze, we spin the wheel of ideas endlessly, believing that control will bring clarity, that holding on will bring peace. And yet, my dear, peace does not come from clenching. Peace comes from release, from gentle letting go, from learning to watch without grasping. I remember a student once came to me, her shoulders tight, her eyes tired, and said, "Master, I cannot stop thinking. My mind is always moving, always racing, always worrying. Even when I try to rest, the thoughts return like waves crashing on the shore. I feel trapped inside my own head." I smiled at her and said, "Do you see the river outside our window?" She looked and nodded. The river flows without trying to hold anything. It does not cling to the leaves. It does not stop for the stones. It simply moves. Your mind is like this river. It is natural for it to flow. The suffering comes when you try to dam it, to stop it, to control it. Learn to be the river's witness, not the dam. We often forget that the mind is alive. It is like a child running in a garden, touching flowers, chasing butterflies, laughing, tripping, getting up, and running again. You cannot force the child to sit still. You cannot scold it into obedience. But you can watch, and with patience, guide it gently, softly, until it learns the rhythm of presence. The same is true with thoughts. When you allow them to flow without resistance, without panic, without clinging, they begin to settle naturally. And in that settling, clarity arises. The Buddha taught that the mind is like a field, and thoughts are seeds. Some seeds grow into flowers, some into weeds. Overthinking is when we water every seed, every idea, every fear, giving importance to the ones that only cause suffering. Letting thoughts flow is like walking through the field and observing. Letting some seeds grow, plucking the weeds, but never forcing, never panicking, never imagining that every seed is life or death. You see, freedom comes not from stopping thoughts, but from knowing which ones to nourish and which ones to release. Sometimes, letting thoughts flow can feel frightening at first. You might think, if I let go, I will lose control, I will miss something, I will fail. But my dear, control is an illusion, a tight knot that suffocates. Life is never under control. The wind moves, the rain falls, the sun rises and sets, the river flows. To cling to every thought is like trying to hold water in your hands. The harder you squeeze, the faster it slips. But if you let it go, if you allow it to run through your fingers, it nourishes the earth. It becomes life. It moves naturally. Let me tell you a story of an old monk who was known for his wisdom. People often asked him, "Master, how do you stay so calm? How do you keep your mind at peace?" He would smile and say, "I do not stop the thoughts. I do not fight them. I let them come. I let them go, like clouds in the sky. Sometimes they are dark, sometimes they are light, but the sky remains. I am the sky, and the thoughts are the clouds. That is all." People would nod, but it took many years before they truly understood. It is not an easy lesson, but it is a gentle one, waiting for those who are patient. I want you to try this with me, my dear. When a thought arises, do not immediately chase it or fight it. Simply notice it. Observe it like a leaf floating on the river. See its color, see its movement, see how it drifts. And then, without clinging, let it pass. Another will come, and another, and another. Each is a visitor. Some bring joy, some bring fear, some bring nothing at all. Treat them all with gentle awareness. Do not judge, do not push away, do not label them. Simply let them flow. There is a great power in this practice. Each time you allow a thought to pass without clinging, you create space in your mind. Space for clarity, space for peace, space for understanding. You will notice that your reactions are softer, your judgments lighter, your heart warmer. This is because when the mind flows freely, energy is no longer trapped in loops of worry and fear. It begins to move in harmony with life itself, instead of struggling against it. Many people ask me, "Master, what if the thoughts are painful? What if they remind me of mistakes, regrets, fears?" My dear, even these thoughts are not to be feared. Painful thoughts are like winter winds. They may chill you, but they also signal the change of seasons, the awakening of awareness. When you allow them to flow without resistance, without clinging, you begin to see their impermanence. They arrive, they linger, and then they leave. And in that leaving, the heart learns softness, the mind learns patience, the spirit learns freedom. Think of a pond. If you throw a stone into the water, ripples spread in all directions. If you try to hold the ripples, the water will only become turbulent. But if you allow the ripples to move, to rise and fall naturally, the pond regains its calm. Thoughts are like those ripples. Let them move. Let them flow. Do not struggle to flatten them immediately. In the gentle movement, the pond, the mind, finds its own balance. Sometimes, the mind clings to thoughts out of habit, out of fear of emptiness. We are so used to being busy inside our heads that stillness feels strange. But dear one, stillness is the natural state. It is always there, like the ground beneath your feet. The thoughts are only temporary. They come, they move, they pass. If you can rest in stillness while the thoughts flow, you begin to touch the deeper essence of your being, the unshakable calm that is beyond the waves of the mind. Letting thoughts flow does not mean ignoring life or pretending problems do not exist. It means facing them with gentleness and clarity. When a problem arises, look at it, breathe with it, allow thoughts about it to arise, and then let them pass. You will notice that the solution often comes naturally, without the struggle, without the panic, without the endless spinning in circles. The mind works best when it is free, when it is flowing, when it is not chained to every idea. There is a beauty in observing thoughts flow. You begin to see the patterns of your mind. You notice which thoughts return often, which thoughts create suffering, which thoughts bring insight. You learn to respond rather than react. You learn to choose rather than be carried away. And slowly, gently, the mind becomes a friend, not a master. It is no longer a wild horse dragging you through the forest. It becomes a horse that walks beside you, moving in harmony with your heart. Even when difficult thoughts arise, you can let them flow. Fear, anger, regret, anxiety. They are all like travelers passing through a village. You may notice them, speak kindly to them, and then let them continue on their way. You do not have to house every traveler forever. You do not have to feed every visitor. Some thoughts are meant to teach, some to warn, some simply to remind you that life is alive, moving, and impermanent. The practice of letting thoughts flow is a practice of trust. Trust in life, trust in your own awareness, trust in the natural unfolding of the mind. Each thought that passes teaches patience. Each wave that arises teaches observation. Each moment of stillness between thoughts teaches freedom. The more you practice, the more you will see that the mind is not your enemy, that thoughts are not your chains, that life is not your burden. And my dear, the joy of this practice is subtle but profound. You will notice mornings feel lighter, conversations feel richer, and moments of quiet feel deeper. Even ordinary moments, washing dishes, walking to the market, listening to a friend, will carry a new sweetness. The mind, once restless and grasping, begins to move with the rhythm of life instead of against it. You begin to live in the flow, rather than in the turbulence. So remember this, my friend. Thoughts are like the river. They will flow, no matter what you do. You can fight, you can cling, you can panic, but the river will continue. Or you can watch, you can breathe, you can let them flow. And in that letting, discover a calm that is always present, a freedom that is always yours, a life that is full, simple, and beautiful. The gentle art of observing thoughts. My dear friend, today I wish to speak to you about something so simple, yet so easily misunderstood. The gentle art of observing thoughts. So many people carry their thoughts as if they were treasures to protect or weapons to defend against others. And yet, most of the time, these thoughts are neither. They are clouds drifting in the sky of your mind, momentary, changing, sometimes heavy with rain, sometimes bright with sunlight. And just as we cannot hold the clouds in our hands, we cannot hold our thoughts without effort, without struggle, without suffering. I remember a student once came to me, his eyes anxious, his voice trembling. "Master," he said, "my mind never stops. Every moment, it is like a storm. I cannot rest. I cannot concentrate. Even when I try to meditate, thoughts rush in like a river, and I feel like I am drowning." I nodded gently and said, "Do you see the river behind the temple?" He looked and followed my finger. "It flows, yes," he said. "It flows even when rocks block it, even when branches fall into it, even when the wind pushes against it. It does not resist, it does not panic, it does not fight. It simply flows. Your thoughts are the same. They will come, they will move, they will pass. Your task is only to watch, to observe, without clinging, without pushing, without drowning. Observation is a gentle skill, one that cannot be forced. Many people think that to control the mind, they must chase each thought, analyze each fear, plan for each possibility. And in this chasing, the mind becomes tired, heavy, burdened. Observing, my dear one, is different. It is like sitting on the riverbank, feeling the breeze, seeing the water move, listening to the birds, and noticing how the light reflects on the surface. You see the ripples, but you do not touch them. You notice the currents, but you do not dive into every wave. You let them be, and in this gentle letting be, a quiet clarity arises. The Buddha often spoke of the mind as a field and thoughts as seeds. Some seeds are nourishing, some are weeds. When you observe, you begin to see which seeds grow, which weeds take root, which flowers bloom. You do not need to pull every weed as it appears. You do not need to water every seed that pops out. You only watch. You learn. You understand. And in this understanding, wisdom grows naturally, without effort, without struggle. Many people fear observing their thoughts because they think they will be overwhelmed. What if I find something terrible in my mind? They ask. But my dear, the mind is like a house. Sometimes it is messy, sometimes it is clean, sometimes it has broken furniture, sometimes it has windows wide open letting in sunlight. Observing does not mean judging. Observing does not mean fixing immediately. Observing means noticing, feeling, and breathing with what is present. And when you do this slowly, a lightness enters your awareness. The house is still the house, but you begin to understand its rhythm, its spaces, its quiet corners. Let me share another story. A young monk came to me, worried about his anger. "Master," he said, "I cannot stop feeling frustrated. Every small thing makes me tense. I try to ignore it, but it returns stronger than before." I told him, "Sit with it. Do not fight. Do not run. Simply observe. Notice how it rises in your chest, how it moves to your arms, how it tenses your jaw. Do not push it down. Do not scold yourself. Breathe and watch. And then, slowly, it will soften. Slowly, it will fade." The monk followed my advice, though he was doubtful at first. And after days of gentle practice, he came back, his eyes calmer. "Master," he said, "I still feel anger, but I do not drown in it anymore. I see it, and it moves." This is the essence of observing thoughts. You do not need to change them. You do not need to chase them. You do not need to push them away. You only notice. And in noticing, you create space. Space for clarity. Space for peace. Space for understanding. And with space, the mind breathes. The heart opens. The spirit relaxes. Sometimes, you will find that observing is not easy. Thoughts may be loud, persistent, demanding attention. But remember, they are like the wind through the trees. You cannot stop the wind, you cannot control it, but you can feel it. You can notice how it rustles the leaves. You can see how it moves the branches. And in this seeing, you are free from the storm. Observing is the same. The thoughts may roar, may insist, may pull at you, but your awareness can remain calm, gentle, unmoved. The mind tends to confuse observation with judgment. We watch, and immediately we say, "This is bad, this is wrong, I should not think this." But my dear, observation is gentle. It sees without labels, without fear, without expectation. It simply notices. A thought rises. You see it. A feeling appears. You notice it. A worry comes. You watch it. And then, naturally, without force, without effort, it passes. You do not need to chase it. You do not need to stop it. You do not need to fix it. You only notice, and the river of the mind flows more freely. I tell my students that observing thoughts is like watching shadows in the sunlight. They appear, they change, they shift, they vanish. Sometimes they are sharp, sometimes they are soft, sometimes they linger longer than expected. But the sun, the awareness within you, remains. Bright, steady, patient watching. And in this sunlight, the shadows lose their power. The mind begins to rest. The heart begins to rest. You begin to touch the stillness that has always been there, beneath the ripples, beyond the waves. Even the most persistent thoughts, the ones that tug at you in the middle of the night, can be met with observation. Ah, here is a thought. You can say gently, I see you. I notice you. I do not need to act on you right now. You may pass. And slowly, as you practice this again and again, the habit of clinging loosens. The mind begins to understand that not every thought is urgent. Not every idea needs attention. Not every fear needs feeding. The mind learns to breathe. The mind learns to rest. Observing is not passive. It is an active, gentle engagement with life. You are present with yourself, fully awake, fully aware, fully human. You are no longer running from your thoughts. You are no longer hiding from your feelings. You are meeting them, looking at them, and letting them move. And in this movement, you find freedom, a freedom that is quiet, gentle, and enduring. I want you to try this in small moments. Notice your thoughts as you wash dishes. Notice your thoughts as you walk to the market. Notice your thoughts as you sit quietly before sleep. Do not interfere. Do not judge. Do not chase. Simply notice, gently, warmly, lovingly. And each time you do, you practice the art of observation. Each time you practice, the mind softens. Each time you practice, peace grows. Life itself will teach you more than any words I can say. Observe the birds. Observe the trees. Observe the people around you. Notice how everything moves, shifts, and changes. And then look at your own mind. Notice how it moves, shifts, and changes. The patterns will become clear. You will begin to understand that thoughts are not permanent, that they are not you, that they are part of the living flow of life. And my dear, once you truly begin observing, you will notice a subtle joy arises. A quiet joy that is not loud, not flashy, not dependent on circumstances. It is a joy that comes from being present, from being aware, from being free of the chains of reaction and clinging. The mind becomes a friend, the heart becomes soft, and life, with all its challenges, becomes a river to move in, not a prison to suffer in. Embracing the present moment. My dear friend, today I wish to speak with you about something so simple, yet so easily overlooked, the present moment. Many of us live our lives stitched together by threads of the past and the future. We carry memories that weigh heavily, regrets that pinch the heart, plans that stretch endlessly into the unseen. And while we do this, the present moment, which is the only place life truly exists, quietly slips through our fingers like sand. It is always here, always waiting, always ready, but we often fail to notice. I remember a student once came to me, her eyes clouded with worry. "Master," she said, "I feel like I am never really living. I am always thinking about what happened yesterday, or what might happen tomorrow. I cannot feel peace in this moment." I smiled gently and asked her to sit by the pond near the temple. "Look at the water," I said. "Notice how it moves, how the fish swim, how the sunlight dances on its surface. Do you see how alive it is right now, without thinking of yesterday or tomorrow?" She looked, her eyes following the small ripples, and slowly, a quiet smile touched her lips. In that moment, she felt something she had not felt in months. Presence. The present is a gift, though we often overlook it. We are taught to plan, to anticipate, to worry, and while planning is necessary, it should not become a cage. Every moment we spend dwelling on what has been, or what might be, is a moment stolen from this life. The mind is clever. It convinces us that preparation is wisdom, but too often it becomes obsession. We think that by endlessly thinking, by endlessly calculating, by endlessly imagining, we are securing life. And yet, life cannot be secured. Life must be lived. Here, now, let me tell you a story. A young monk came to me, burdened by thoughts of failure. He said, "Master, I cannot focus. Every time I try to meditate, my mind runs to all the mistakes I made, to all the things I fear." I took him outside and asked him to feel the wind on his skin. "The wind does not cling to the past," I said. "It does not anticipate tomorrow. It simply moves freely, fully present. Can you be like the wind, even for a moment?" At first he laughed, thinking it impossible. But as the wind brushed against his cheeks, he closed his eyes and breathed, noticing each sensation. For the first time, he experienced a moment of pure presence. And in that presence, the weight of his thoughts lifted, just a little, like clouds drifting away from the sky. To embrace the present is to let go, not forcefully, not with struggle, but gently. It is to notice your breath, your body, the sounds around you, the feeling of the earth beneath your feet. It is to touch the reality that is alive, immediate, and true. The mind will resist, of course. It will call you back to regrets, to worries, to what-ifs. This is natural. The mind is like a child, eager to wander, curious, restless. But your awareness can be the gentle hand that guides it back, not with force, but with love. I often tell my students that the present is like a river. You cannot step into the same water twice, because the water flows continuously, endlessly. You can try to capture it, to hold it, but it will always escape. To live fully, you must enter it, immerse yourself, and let it carry you. Notice the ripples, notice the sunlight, notice the life that moves within it. To resist the river is suffering. To move with it is liberation. Sometimes, embracing the present requires courage. You may be tempted to dwell on memories that hurt, on fears that loom, on plans that overwhelm. But life asks you only for this moment. Right now, the world is breathing, the trees are moving, the sun is shining, the wind is blowing, your heart is beating. These are miracles, simple and profound, waiting for your attention. When you notice them, even for a fleeting second, you step out of the prison of past and future and touch the freedom that has always been yours. There is a story I wish to share. A farmer came to me one day, worried about the harvest. "Master," he said, "I have worked so hard, but what if it fails? What if the rain does not come? What if the crops die?" I asked him to walk with me through the fields. Look at the soil, feel it with your hands, see the seeds sprouting. The future is unknown, yes, but these hands, these eyes, this moment, this is real. Tend to it, care for it, notice it, but do not lose it to what might be. Embrace the present, and let the rest unfold as it will. He returned to his work with a lighter heart, seeing the beauty in each seed, each sprout, each day. Embracing the present does not mean ignoring life's responsibilities. It does not mean abandoning preparation or action. It means engaging fully, with awareness, in what is here. Washing the dishes, walking to the market, speaking with a friend, listening to a child. These ordinary moments are the threads of life. When you live them fully, without distraction, without resistance, without the tyranny of what was or what might be, you discover that even the smallest tasks carry profound joy. The mind tends to scatter, my dear friend. It flits from memory to worry, from plan to fear, and in its scattering, we lose the moment. Observation, gentle awareness, and presence are the keys to returning. Notice the breath. Notice the body. Notice the sounds, the colors, the sensations. Notice the life that exists right here, right now. The mind may wander. This is natural. But return again and again, gently, patiently, lovingly. Each return strengthens your connection to the present, and slowly, your suffering softens. I have seen many people transformed by this practice. A woman once came to me saying, "Master, life feels heavy. I cannot rest." I asked her to notice the sun on her skin as we walked, to hear the birds singing, to feel the texture of the earth beneath her feet. At first, she barely noticed, but after days of gentle practice, she began to experience moments of joy she had long forgotten. The laughter of children, the taste of fresh food, the comfort of warm water, the softness of wind. These were not extraordinary moments by the world's standards, but in her awareness, they became miracles. The present was enough. To live fully in the present is also to accept impermanence. Everything is passing, everything changes, everything moves. The people we love, the joys we cherish, the difficulties we endure, all are temporary. When we cling to them, we suffer. When we observe them as they are, in this moment, without grasping, without fear, we touch life's natural flow. You will notice a lightness, a freedom, a deep satisfaction that cannot be taken by circumstance, because it is rooted in awareness itself. Even in difficult times, the present carries gifts. When a problem arises, when a loss occurs, when pain visits, notice it fully. Do not flee. Do not resist. Feel it, observe it, breathe with it. The present moment contains within it the seeds of insight, of understanding, of transformation. Suffering does not vanish instantly, but it changes in its texture. It becomes bearable. It becomes a teacher. It becomes part of life's unfolding. I tell my students to practice like this. Begin with small moments. Notice your breath. Notice a sound. Notice a feeling. Let it anchor you. Let it remind you that life is not elsewhere. Life is not in the past. Life is not in the future. Life is here. Life is now. And slowly, the moments expand. Awareness grows. Presence deepens. The river of life flows through you, and you flow with it. There is profound beauty in noticing the present. The smile of a friend, the warmth of the sun, the rustle of leaves, the hum of distant life, all are alive. And when you notice them, really notice them, even for a brief moment, the heart opens, the mind rests, the spirit remembers that it has always been free. The past is past, the future is yet to be. This moment, right here, is everything. Even in our modern lives, filled with distractions, responsibilities, and constant motion, the present is always available, waiting, gentle, patient, for our attention. To embrace it is a practice, not a destination. Each time you bring awareness back to now, you strengthen your connection to life. Each time you notice a sensation, a sound, a breath, you anchor yourself in the miracle of being alive. Over time, these moments accumulate, creating a river of presence that sustains you through challenges, through fears, through the storms of the mind. So, my dear, remember this. The present is not something you achieve, it is something you recognize. It is not something you capture, it is something you allow. It is always here, always waiting, always alive. Notice it, breathe with it, move with it, live with it. In this embrace, you will discover a quiet joy, a deep peace, and a freedom that has always been your true nature. Calming the restless mind. My dear friend, let us sit together for a while and talk about something that touches each of us every single day. The restless mind. It is so easy to feel trapped by it, isn't it? Thoughts that never stop, worries that pile up like stones in your chest, plans that chase each other endlessly through your head. You try to rest, you try to meditate, you even try to sleep, but the mind refuses to settle. And yet, my dear, this restlessness is not your enemy. It is a signal, a gentle teacher, trying to show you where your attention is lost, where your awareness is fragmented, where your heart is longing for peace. I remember a student coming to me long ago, her eyes heavy, her voice trembling. "Master," she said, "my mind never stops. I feel like I am riding a horse I cannot control. Every second it gallops away, and I am left holding the reins, afraid, exhausted." I asked her to close her eyes and simply notice her breath. "Do not try to stop the horse," I said. "Do not try to control it. Just feel your hands, your body, the reins. Notice the rhythm of the horse, the sound of its hooves, the movement beneath you. See, you are not the horse. You are the rider. And even if the horse runs, your awareness remains." At first, she doubted. How could awareness remain when the mind was so loud? But she tried. Slowly, gently, she noticed her breath, her heartbeat, the sensation of sitting. And for the first time, the relentless gallop seemed less terrifying. She was not gone. She was present. Restlessness often arises from trying to hold on to things that cannot be held, from thinking about what is already past or what may never come. It is like trying to catch the wind with your hands. You may grab at it, but it will slip through. The mind does the same, reaching for memories, for worries, for endless what-ifs. And in this reaching, we exhaust ourselves. The practice, my dear, is not to chase every thought, not to silence every worry, not to fix every what-if. The practice is to notice, to breathe, to be. Let me tell you a story. A young monk once approached me, anxious and fidgeting. "Master, I cannot calm my thoughts. Every time I sit, they flood in fear, doubt, regret. I feel I am drowning." I asked him to come with me to the river behind the temple. We stood on the bank, watching the water move. Do you see how the water flows around the rocks? It does not fight the stones. It does not demand the stones to move. It simply moves, and in moving, it finds its way. I looked into his eyes and said, "Your mind is the river. The rocks are your worries, your fears, your memories. Do not resist them. Do not try to remove them. Observe how they appear, and let them flow past. You are the river. You are the flow." He practiced this for many days, noticing his thoughts as they arose, allowing them to move, and slowly, he found moments of calm he had never known. To calm a restless mind, one must first meet it with patience and kindness. So often, we scold ourselves. "Why can't I focus? Why am I like this?" And in this scolding, the restlessness grows. Gentle observation is the key. Watch your thoughts like clouds passing in the sky. Some are dark, heavy with rain. Others are light and playful, dancing in sunlight. Notice them without clinging, without pushing away. Simply notice, breathe, and let them drift. Sometimes I tell my students, the mind will resist even the gentlest observation. Thoughts may become louder, fears may rise stronger, memories may sting sharper. This is natural. Do not panic. Do not fight. Just observe. You may feel frustrated, restless, impatient. Let it be. Let the feeling of frustration itself be part of your observation. There is a strange relief in this, a subtle freedom, when you stop resisting even the storm of your own mind. Breath is a gentle anchor for the restless mind. Even a single moment of noticing your inhale and exhale can quiet the churning waters inside. Place your hand on your chest and feel the rise and fall. Notice the air moving in and out. You are alive right now. You are present right now. The mind may try to argue, to pull you back into its chaos, but your awareness, the witness, remains. And each return to the breath, each gentle noticing, strengthens your inner calm. Another time, a young woman came to me, frustrated by sleepless nights. "Master," she said, "my mind races when I try to sleep. Every worry, every plan, every fear appears, and I cannot rest." I asked her to lie down and simply notice her body. Feel your legs, your arms, the weight of your body on the bed. Feel the rhythm of your breath. Feel the stillness that surrounds you. Thoughts will come, yes, but you do not need to chase them. Notice them, and let them float away like leaves on a stream. She practiced this for many nights, and slowly, a calmness settled. The thoughts still came, but they no longer held her captive. She had found a friend within her awareness, a gentle presence that could watch the mind without being swept away. Restlessness often hides deeper fears. Fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of the unknown. The mind distracts itself, filling every quiet moment with noise, because it is afraid to face stillness. But my dear, fear diminishes in the light of gentle awareness. When you notice the fear, when you meet it with kindness, it becomes less threatening. It is no longer a tyrant controlling your thoughts, but a passing sensation in the vast sky of your mind. She asked me, "Master, if I let go, will I lose everything I've worked for?" I smiled and said, "Perhaps, and perhaps you will gain what you cannot yet imagine. The branch cannot hold every leaf, the river cannot hold every stone, and life cannot hold every plan. By releasing your grip, you create space for the unexpected blessings that are waiting." Slowly, over time, she practiced letting go, feeling the anxiety ease, noticing opportunities she had never considered, and discovering joy she had long forgotten. Letting go is not a single act. It is a practice, a daily return to awareness. Thoughts will arise, old attachments will resurface, fears will whisper. Each time, we notice, we breathe, we release gently. It is not a battle, not a struggle, but a tender unfolding. Each small act of release softens the heart, lightens the mind, and opens the spirit. Even the simplest things, possessions, habits, memories, can teach us this. Notice the cup you hold in your hand. Notice the water inside. One day, the cup will break, the water will spill. You may feel loss, but if you understand the nature of things, you can smile and continue. The cup does not own you. It was a companion, a gift, a moment. Letting go allows life to continue without resistance, without fear. Attachment is also intertwined with desire. We want happiness, recognition, love, comfort. And in wanting, we cling. But desire itself is not wrong. It is natural. The mistake is in clinging, in believing that fulfillment depends on securing an outcome. The flower blooms, it offers fragrance and beauty, yet it does not cling to admiration. We too can bloom. We too can offer our hearts, without grasping for reciprocation or permanence. I tell my students, notice what you cling to. Observe it like a gentle friend, not an enemy. Ask yourself, does this serve my peace, or does it bind me? Can I enjoy it, honor it, and yet release my grasp? This inquiry is not judgment, it is awareness. And awareness is the path to freedom. Each act of letting go is like opening a window in a closed room. Air enters, light enters, and the heart breathes once more. Even in relationships, letting go is essential. We may love deeply, care deeply, fear loss deeply, and yet, love that clings becomes suffering. True love allows freedom, allows change, allows the natural flow of life. Notice the other person as they are, not as you wish them to be. Care without grasping, give without expectation, and you will discover a love that is gentle, enduring, and free. Life itself teaches impermanence at every moment. The seasons change, the sun rises and sets, people come and go, joys appear and fade. To resist this is to resist life. To cling is to suffer. To notice, to breathe, to release gently, is to align oneself with the natural flow, to move with life rather than against it. I have seen students transformed by this practice. A man clung to his memories of youth, fearful of aging and change. He was restless, anxious, unable to find joy in each day. Slowly, he practiced observing memories without attachment, noticing the present, releasing the past with kindness. And over time, he discovered laughter, ease, and a quiet contentment he had never known. The weight of attachment lifted, and life, in its ordinary simplicity, became extraordinary. To let go is not to abandon life, not to become indifferent, not to stop caring. It is to engage fully with awareness, with love, with tenderness, without grasping. It is to feel deeply, yet not be enslaved. It is to notice the impermanence of all things, to understand the flow, and to allow life to move naturally, like a river, like the wind, like sunlight across the mountains. So, my dear friend, take a deep breath. Look around. Notice what you hold in your heart, in your hands, in your mind. Offer it a smile, a gentle release, a quiet thankfulness. The past, the future, the possessions, the people, they are part of life's dance, not your prison. Let them flow. Let your heart flow. And in this gentle flowing, discover the lightness, the peace, and the freedom that has always been yours. Embracing the present moment. My dear friend, let us talk today about something that is always here, always waiting for us, yet so often overlooked, the present moment. It is easy, isn't it, to get caught in the past, to dwell on what has already happened, replaying it over and over in our minds? And then the future. Oh, how tempting it is to run there, planning, worrying, imagining countless possibilities that may never come. Yet life itself, the only life you truly live, is happening now, in this very breath, this very heartbeat, this very glance around you. The present is not something we acquire or chase. It is something we discover, quietly, softly, with gentle awareness. I remember a young student coming to me long ago, eyes wide with anxiety, voice trembling as she said, "Master, I cannot stop thinking about everything I have to do, everything I should have done, and everything I hope will happen. I feel like I am everywhere but here. I am exhausted." I ask her to sit and close her eyes, to simply feel her breath. Do not try to change anything. Do not try to stop thinking. Just notice the rise and fall of your chest, the gentle rhythm of your inhaling and exhaling. Be here with this breath, this body, this moment. All else can wait. At first, she struggled, her mind insisting on pulling her elsewhere. But slowly, as she continued, she began to notice a softening, a quiet space opening in the midst of her thoughts. The present moment is like the surface of a quiet lake. When we throw stones of regret, fear, or longing into it, ripples spread, and the water seems disturbed. But if we pause, if we simply watch and breathe, the ripples settle, and the water reflects the sky, the trees, the light, clearly and peacefully. The present is not something that needs to be earned or fixed. It is the natural state, waiting for us to notice it. Let me tell you a story. A man once approached me, carrying the weight of his past failures and future worries. "Master," he said, "I am never free. My mind is always racing, and I feel trapped in a constant hurry." I took him to the garden and asked him to look at the flowers. "See these flowers?" I said. "They do not worry about the past season or the next. They simply bloom. Their beauty is in their presence. You too can bloom in the moment, not because the past was kind or the future is safe, but because this moment exists for you to notice it." Slowly, he began to understand, noticing small things, the warmth of the sun, the smell of the earth, the sound of birdsong. And in these small moments, a quiet peace arose. Embracing the present does not mean ignoring the past or abandoning the future. It means that we are not lost in them, that we do not let them control our heart. Thoughts will come, memories will arise, worries will whisper. This is natural, but our attention, our awareness, can return again and again to the now. Each return is a gentle act of liberation, a small but profound choice to be alive fully, here and now. I often teach my students to bring attention to ordinary tasks, simple daily acts, as a practice of presence. Washing dishes, walking along a path, drinking tea. These are all opportunities to notice, to feel, to engage with life directly. Notice the sensation of water on your hands, the sound of footsteps on the ground, the warmth of the cup in your palms. Thoughts may arise, distractions will appear, but each gentle return to the task, to the sensation, is a meditation in presence. Sometimes, the mind resists the present, pulling us into worries, regrets, fantasies. This is normal. Do not judge yourself. Observe the mind as it wanders, and with a soft smile, guide your attention back. The mind is like a playful child. It will run, it will explore, it will be distracted. Your gentle awareness is the parent, loving, patient, guiding without force, inviting the child to return, again and again, to the safety and richness of now. A young woman once came to me, overwhelmed by her responsibilities and future dreams. She said, "Master, I cannot stop thinking about what must happen next. I am afraid if I do not plan, everything will fall apart." I asked her to sit by the river and watch the water flow. "See the river?" I said. "It moves continuously, yet it does not cling to the past. It does not rush ahead. It flows naturally, in each moment, fully present. So too, your life unfolds. The present is your guide. Not worry, not fear, not endless planning." Slowly, she began to notice the rhythm of her own life, the small joys hidden in ordinary moments, and discovered a softness of heart she had never felt before. Presence is also the gateway to gratitude. When we live fully in this moment, we notice the beauty that often escapes us. The warmth of sunlight, the sound of wind through leaves, the laughter of a child, the gentle touch of a friend. These are all gifts of the present, unnoticed when we are lost in thought. By embracing the moment, we open our hearts to gratitude, and in gratitude, the heart softens, the mind calms, and joy quietly emerges. The practice of presence is not always easy. Life brings challenges, distractions, pain, and loss. Thoughts of the past or anxieties of the future may press heavily. Yet the present remains, like a sturdy tree in the middle of a storm. You can lean against it, breathe with it, find refuge in it. The storm will rage, but the tree endures, and so too can your awareness. Each breath is a branch, each heartbeat a root, each sensation a leaf, connecting you to the vastness of now. Even the smallest attention to the body anchors us in the present. Notice your feet on the ground, your hands resting, your shoulders relaxing. Feel the air on your skin, the temperature around you, the subtle movements of your body. These sensations are the gateway to presence, the first steps toward awakening to the now. And once we cultivate this awareness, we find that life, in all its ordinary detail, becomes extraordinary. I often remind my students, the present is where life actually happens. The past is memory, the future is imagination, but the present is the only place where we can truly experience joy, peace, and love. When we embrace it, even for a few moments, we discover that life has been here all along, waiting for our attention, waiting for our heart to open. A man once came to me, overwhelmed by regret for things he could not change and fear of things yet to come. I asked him to close his eyes and feel the breath. Do you notice it? I said, this breath is happening now. Your heart is beating now. The sounds around you, the warmth of your body, the sky above, this is life. Do not miss it chasing shadows of past or future. Be here, and life unfolds naturally. He practiced this daily, noticing the small sensations of each moment, and over time, the weight of regret and fear lifted, replaced by a soft, steady presence. Presence is not only a state, it is a practice, a gentle returning. Thoughts will arise, distractions will come, emotions will surge, yet each gentle return to now is a seed of freedom, a quiet awakening. Slowly, we discover that the present is sufficient. It holds everything we need: joy, sorrow, learning, love, peace. All that we seek is here, if only we notice. To embrace the present is to release judgment, to soften expectation, to notice life as it is, not as we hope it will be. It is to engage fully with whatever arises, with an open heart, without grasping, without resistance. This practice, my dear friend, is the essence of calm, of clarity, of awakening. In it, the restless mind finds rest, the heavy heart finds ease, and the soul breathes freely. So, my dear, take a moment now. Feel your breath. Notice your body. Listen to the sounds around you. See the colors, the light, the life moving past you. This is the present. It is always here. You are always here. Life is unfolding now, and it is enough. And in this simple noticing, the ordinary becomes miraculous, and your heart opens to the quiet, profound joy of being fully alive. Cultivating mindful awareness. My dear friend, today I want to share with you the gentle art of mindful awareness, a practice that touches every moment of life when we allow it. Mindfulness is not something we have to force or achieve. It is simply noticing life as it is, without judgment, without striving, with a soft and open heart. Imagine walking through a garden, noticing the flowers, the breeze, the sunlight, not trying to pick anything, not planning ahead, just being fully present. This is mindfulness. It is the art of fully living in each instant, noticing the little things, the subtle things, the things that often go unnoticed. I remember a student who came to me, burdened with endless thoughts, worries, and distractions. "Master," she said, "I feel like my mind is always racing, like I am constantly missing something. How can I find peace?" I asked her to sit quietly with me by the river and simply watch the water flow. "See how the water moves?" I said. "It does not force itself to flow. It does not cling to the banks. It simply moves naturally, fully present in each moment." Your mind is the same, my dear. Notice it. Allow it to flow, without trying to control it, without resisting it. Awareness is gentle, not forceful. Mindfulness is noticing, not judging. She sat quietly, her eyes softening, her breath deepening, slowly discovering a peace she had never known before. Mindful awareness is noticing the ordinary with extraordinary attention. The warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of leaves rustling in the wind, the gentle touch of a loved one. These moments are all waiting for your awareness. They are not small. They are not insignificant. They are the very essence of life. When we pay attention to them, our hearts soften, our minds settle, and a quiet joy arises naturally. It is not something to chase or grasp. It is something to notice, to allow, to breathe with. One of my students, a young man full of ambition, came to me anxious about the future. He said, "Master, I cannot stop planning. I cannot stop worrying. I am always thinking about what comes next." I took him for a walk along a quiet path, asking him to notice each step, the feeling of the ground beneath his feet, the sound of the breeze, the birds in the trees. "Feel each step fully, notice each breath," I said. "The future will arrive as it will. Right now, this moment is all you have. To be fully present is to live fully." Slowly, he began to notice the richness of the path, the beauty of his surroundings, and in this simple practice, his anxiety softened, leaving room for clarity and peace. Mindfulness is also noticing your own mind, without judgment or resistance. Thoughts will arise. They always do. Memories, fears, desires, plans. They come and go like clouds passing through the sky. Notice them. Observe them. Say to yourself, "There is a thought, and it passes." You do not have to chase it, fight it, or cling to it. Awareness is gentle. Each return to the present, each noticing, is a small act of freedom, a soft release from the grip of constant mental activity. Sometimes we think mindfulness is about stillness, but it is also in movement. Washing dishes, walking, cooking, speaking to a friend. All of these are opportunities to practice awareness. Notice the sensation of water on your hands, the sound of footsteps on the floor, the aroma of food, the expression on your friend's face. These ordinary moments, when observed with gentle attention, become extraordinary. Life unfolds fully when we notice it, when we breathe with it, when we are fully present. I often tell my students, awareness is not about perfection. It is about noticing again and again, gently returning when the mind wanders. The mind is playful, like a small child exploring the world. It will run, it will be distracted, it will cling and resist. Your gentle awareness is like a parent, patient and loving, guiding the mind back to the present, not with force, not with judgment, but with tenderness. Each return strengthens the heart. Each noticing deepens peace. Each breath grounds you in life. Even the challenges we face are opportunities for mindfulness. Pain, loss, disappointment, frustration. These arise in life, and our instinct is often to resist, to distract ourselves, to escape. But when we meet these experiences with gentle awareness, noticing them fully without judgment, we discover something remarkable. Pain does not need to be feared. Disappointment does not need to imprison us. Frustration does not need to control us. Observed with mindful attention, these experiences become teachers, guiding us to patience, compassion, and clarity. A student once approached me with grief, having lost someone dear. She said, "Master, I cannot stop the sadness. It overwhelms me." I held her hand and said, "Notice the sadness, breathe with it. Allow it to be, without trying to fix it, without judging it. Feel it fully, and then notice the moments between, the spaces where life continues to move, where breath continues to flow, where the world continues quietly around you. Awareness is not escaping the grief. It is embracing it with tenderness, noticing it fully, and discovering that you are still here, alive, breathing, present." Slowly, she learned to meet her grief with compassion, and a gentle peace arose. Mindfulness also touches how we interact with others. When speaking, listening, or simply being with someone, notice fully. Notice their presence, their words, their expressions, their silence. Listen without planning your response, without judgment, without distraction. In these moments, connection deepens, empathy arises, and communication becomes a gift, not just an exchange of words. Awareness transforms ordinary relationships into profound opportunities for connection and understanding. The body is also a gateway to mindful awareness. Notice your breath, the rise and fall of your chest, the beating of your heart. Notice sensations, tension, warmth, movement. The body is always present, even when the mind wanders. By attending to the body with gentle awareness, we anchor ourselves in the present, reconnecting with life as it unfolds. Each breath, each sensation, is a doorway to calm, clarity, and presence. Even thoughts that seem repetitive, mundane, or troubling can be observed with mindfulness. Notice them, label them if helpful, thinking, and allow them to pass. You do not have to engage. You do not have to resist. Awareness is simply noticing, gently, with patience and compassion. Each noticing is a meditation, a small act of liberation, a soft release from the grip of the mind. I often remind my students, the present is all we truly have, and awareness is the key to living it fully. The past is memory, the future is imagination, but the present is life itself. Each moment, fully observed, fully felt, fully lived, is a jewel, precious and irreplaceable. The practice of mindfulness transforms ordinary moments into experiences of wonder, gratitude, and profound peace. Even the simplest daily routines, washing hands, sipping tea, walking to the market, become opportunities for deep presence. Notice the warmth of the water, the aroma of the tea, the rhythm of your steps. Life unfolds fully when attention is offered, when awareness is present, and the beauty is that mindfulness does not require special circumstances, meditation cushions, or silence. It can be practiced anywhere, anytime, in the midst of ordinary life. I remember a young man worried endlessly about his career, his finances, and his future. He said, "Master, I cannot stop thinking. I cannot find calm." I asked him to notice the floor beneath his feet, the feeling of air on his skin, the subtle sounds of the room. "Be here now," I said, "even for one breath, one step." Awareness is the door to peace. When you return to the present, your mind will find its clarity, your heart will find its softness, and the world will unfold naturally around you. Over time, he discovered that even amid stress, he could anchor himself in life, noticing moments of calm, joy, and clarity. Mindfulness is a lifelong companion. It does not demand perfection. It does not punish mistakes. It does not require force. It simply invites you, again and again, to notice, to breathe, to return. Each gentle noticing softens the heart, eases the mind, and opens the spirit. Even amidst chaos, even amidst struggle, mindfulness offers a sanctuary, a quiet presence that never abandons you, a steady light guiding you through life's uncertainties. So, my dear friend, take a deep breath now. Notice the sensation of air in your nose, in your lungs. Feel your body, sitting or standing, aware of each part, each movement, each heartbeat. Listen to the sounds around you. Smell the air. Notice the colors, the light. This is the practice of mindful awareness. Life is unfolding here, now, and you are part of it. By noticing, by observing, by gently returning to presence, you discover the simplicity, the beauty, and the profound peace that is always available, waiting for you to notice it. And before I forget, my dear friend, there are so many views on this channel. yet only a tiny fraction subscribe. If this message has touched your heart even a little, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Wisdom Woven, so more hearts can find this gentle teaching and the path of awareness can spread softly into the world. Letting go of overthinking. Ah, my dear friend, today I wish to speak softly about something that clings to all of us more than we realize. Overthinking. So many of you, perhaps even you sitting here, feel the mind racing like a river in flood, thoughts tumbling over one another, worries stacking endlessly, plans and fears intertwining. You may lie awake at night, tossing and turning, thinking about what was said, what could be said, what might happen tomorrow, next week, next year. The mind is busy, relentless, and often we feel trapped by its movement, as though our very peace depends on solving every problem, anticipating every outcome, controlling every moment. I remember once a young man came to me, his shoulders heavy with unseen weight. "Master," he said, "I cannot stop thinking. I wake up, and my mind starts racing. I try to breathe, to meditate, to distract myself, but it comes back. I feel exhausted, yet I cannot rest." I nodded softly, and we sat together in the garden, the breeze brushing our faces, the sun warming our skin. "Tell me, my child," I said gently, "do the clouds stop moving in the sky because the wind wishes them to? No, they drift, they gather, they release, and still the sky remains vast and open. Your thoughts are like clouds, moving across the sky of your mind. Notice them, do not chase them, do not cling to them. Simply observe, and the sky of your heart will remain open." Overthinking often arises from fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of mistakes, fear of failure, fear of missing something important. It can feel like a protective shield, a way of trying to control life. But in reality, it often binds us tighter, keeping us from peace, from clarity, from joy. One must learn to recognize this pattern with kindness. See it as you would notice a child struggling to balance on a rock, wobbling and anxious, needing your gentle guidance rather than harsh words or impatience. The mind is our child, playful and restless, and our task is not to punish it, but to guide it back softly to the present. I tell my students often, overthinking is like carrying a heavy basket filled with pebbles. Each pebble a worry, a doubt, a regret. You carry it everywhere. Your back aches, your arms tire, yet you cannot seem to set it down. But the basket is not you. The pebbles are not you. You can gently place it down, breathe, and notice the space around you. Letting go does not mean ignoring responsibility or wisdom. It simply means recognizing what you cannot control and releasing the grip that hurts you more than it helps. Once, I walked with a student through the forest, leaves crunching beneath our feet. She spoke of all the thoughts she had, the plans she made, the mistakes she feared repeating. "Master, I feel trapped in my mind," she said. I asked her to stop, to kneel and touch the earth, to feel the solidity of the ground beneath her hands, to hear the whisper of the wind through the trees, to smell the dampness of soil. "Do you notice this moment?" I asked. "Do you notice how the earth does not demand your thoughts? How the trees do not ask for your worry? How the wind does not care for your anxiety? Let your mind, like the leaves, float where it must, but return gently to your own presence, your own breath, your own awareness." Slowly, she began to smile, a soft relief unfolding across her face, a lightness she had not known in months. Letting go of overthinking is not a one-time act, nor is it a forceful command. It is gentle, patient, and persistent. It begins with noticing. Notice your thoughts as they arise, without judgment, without fear. There is a thought about tomorrow, you might say to yourself. It is here, and it will pass. Observe it like a bird resting briefly on a branch, and let it fly on. Each noticing, each return to presence, is a small liberation, a softening of the burden carried so long. Sometimes, overthinking disguises itself as care, as wisdom, as preparation. I am thinking ahead, the mind whispers. I am being responsible, and indeed, some attention is necessary. But the mind often blurs the line between wise preparation and endless rumination. Ask yourself gently, is this thought helping me? Does it serve my peace, my clarity, my heart? If not, let it drift away, like a leaf on a stream, carried gently by the current of awareness rather than clutched in fear. Even emotions, when entangled with thoughts, can fuel overthinking. Anger, sadness, disappointment, regret, they whisper. Remember, plan, analyze, avoid. And so the mind spins, trying to solve what cannot be solved, control what cannot be controlled. But notice, the emotions exist, the thoughts exist, yet you are the sky, vast and open, beneath which all arises and falls. By watching with gentleness, by returning to breath and presence, the grip of overthinking loosens, revealing the simple freedom that is always available. Overthinking also creates illusion. We imagine outcomes, rehearse conversations, judge others, or ourselves harshly in anticipation. We live in a story that has not yet happened, forgetting the present, forgetting the subtle joys and simple miracles of life unfolding. Each moment, fully observed, becomes an oasis of reality, where the mind rests, the heart softens, and the body breathes freely. Even a simple sip of tea, a smile from a friend, the warmth of sunlight on skin. These become profound when not overshadowed by endless thought. One of my students, a young woman, would endlessly worry about her career. Each decision was a storm in her mind. Each conversation a potential disaster. "Master, I cannot stop thinking," she said, her eyes clouded with exhaustion. I asked her to notice her hands, the texture of the cup she held, the rhythm of her breath. "Can you be here now?" I asked softly. She nodded, unsure at first, then began to smile, as if discovering something she had forgotten. The storm within her began to quiet. Not because the thoughts disappeared, but because her attention returned gently, softly, to what is real, to what is now. Letting go is also about compassion for oneself. We often berate ourselves for thinking too much, as if our mind were a failure, a flaw. But the mind is not a problem to be solved. It is a companion to be guided. Speak to it gently, as you would to a child, as you would to a friend in distress. Each act of noticing, each gentle return, is a meditation, a balm, a softening of the grip that thought imposes. Even the smallest acts can help. Notice your breath, your posture, the sensations of your body. Walk slowly, eat slowly, touch slowly. Notice the rhythm of life, the ebb and flow, the rise and fall of each moment. When thoughts arise, let them be like clouds drifting in the sky, seen, acknowledged, but not clung to. In this gentle practice, overthinking loses its power, not because it is fought, but because it is met with clarity, awareness, and patience. Ah, dear one, remember, life is fleeting, and each moment is precious. Overthinking steals these moments, chaining us to shadows of imagined futures or past regrets. By noticing, by returning to breath, by embracing the present with gentle awareness, we discover freedom, peace, and the soft joy of simply being. Even amidst uncertainty, even amidst worry, the mind can rest in the openness of the present, and the heart can unfold softly, like a lotus opening in morning light. And so, my dear friend, let the thoughts flow like water. Let them come and go. Breathe, notice, return to presence. You are not your thoughts. You are the vast sky in which they move. In each breath, in each moment, there is a choice to release, to soften, to be free. Embracing simplicity in thought. Ah, my dear friend, today let us speak softly about simplicity. Not the kind that comes from doing less, but the kind that comes from being more present, more aware, more gentle with yourself. Life, as you know, has a way of filling the mind with noise, tasks, worries, desires, expectations, comparisons. It is easy to feel buried beneath it all, as though each thought is a stone pressing down on the chest, each worry a chain around the heart. Yet, simplicity is not about running away from life, nor about ignoring responsibility. It is about gently returning to what is essential, what is true, what is alive in this very moment. I remember once walking with a student through a quiet field. She had come to me with a mind overburdened by decisions, by fears, by plans she felt she must make before the world would notice her worth. Her steps were hurried, her shoulders tight, her gaze darting everywhere except to the grass beneath her feet. "Master," she said, voice trembling, "how do I stop thinking so much? How do I find a moment that feels real, that feels mine?" I stopped, looked at her, and simply said, "Do you see the dew on the grass? Each drop is perfect, complete in itself. You do not need to add to it. You do not need to shape it. It simply is. Your thoughts, too, can be like this, if you allow them to rest without judgment." Simplicity begins with noticing, truly noticing, the small things. The warmth of sunlight on skin, the rhythm of a breath, the gentle hum of life around you. When you are caught in a storm of thought, pause. Feel the soles of your feet on the earth. Notice the sounds of the world, the subtle colors of the sky, the touch of air on your hands. In these moments, life does not ask you to solve anything. It simply invites you to be. You may find slowly that the mind begins to quiet, not because it has been forced, but because it feels safe to rest. Overthinking and complexity often arise from a desire to control, to perfect, to foresee every ripple of the future. We tell ourselves stories about what must happen, what could happen, what should happen. And in this process, we forget the simplicity of now. Once, a young man came to me, carrying a notebook filled with lists of tasks, plans, fears, hopes. "Master, I cannot stop planning," he said. "I feel like if I do not prepare for everything, I will fail." I asked him to put the notebook down, to close his eyes, and to simply breathe. For several long minutes, we sat in silence, the notebook forgotten, the lists meaningless for that moment. Slowly, he began to smile. "It feels lighter," he whispered. "I didn't think I could feel lighter without doing something." I nodded. "Simplicity is not laziness," I said softly. "It is trust. Trust in the moment, in your presence, in the life that unfolds even when you do not control it." We live in a world that values busy minds, constant productivity, and endless planning. Yet these are not measures of wisdom or peace. The mind that can rest, the heart that can open without expectation, the body that can breathe without hurry. These are the signs of true simplicity. Notice how a child plays. Their thoughts are not cluttered with regret or anticipation. They are fully immersed in the act, whether drawing a line in the sand, chasing a butterfly, or listening to the wind. In their presence, we can learn much. We can remember that life, at its core, is simple, and it is we who often complicate it. Simplicity also asks for gentle acceptance. Accept the thoughts that arise, the emotions that flow, the circumstances that appear. Accept without judgment, without pushing, without fighting. Like a river flowing past rocks, let life move through you without resistance. The river does not demand perfection. It simply flows. When the mind learns this rhythm, It becomes less burdened, more spacious, and overthinking loses its urgency. One begins to see the world with clearer eyes, noticing the beauty in what is, rather than what could be. I once spoke to a student who was overwhelmed by choices. "Master, I do not know which path to take. Every option seems both right and wrong." I smiled gently. "Do not choose yet," I said. "Sit with the uncertainty. Feel it fully. Notice the sensations in your body, the tug of your heart, the quiet whispers of your mind." Choices become clear not when we overthink them, but when we allow simplicity to reveal itself. Clarity emerges from stillness, not noise. Simplicity is also found in our daily actions. Eating, walking, talking, working. Each can be a meditation. When washing dishes, feel the water on your hands. When walking, notice each step. When speaking, listen fully to the other. These acts, seemingly small, create a rhythm of presence. The mind learns that life is not a problem to solve, but a flow to participate in. With this gentle practice, overthinking naturally eases, and we find joy in the simplicity that was always available. Even the hardest emotions, when approached with simplicity, lose their intensity. Fear, anger, sadness. They are like shadows passing over the sun. We do not chase them, nor cling to them. We notice, breathe, and allow them to pass. In this gentle observation, we discover that the heart is bigger than the mind's storms. The mind can spin endlessly, but the heart remains open, calm, capable of gentle love, compassion, and patience. I remember a young woman who came burdened with regrets. "Master, I cannot stop replaying my mistakes," she said. I asked her to close her eyes and imagine each regret as a leaf floating on a river. "Watch it float," I said. "Do not chase it. Do not pull it back. Simply let it drift." Hours later, she opened her eyes, her expression lighter, softer. "It feels peaceful," she whispered. And indeed, in that simple act, the burden of endless rumination lifted, replaced by the gentle freedom of acceptance. Simplicity also teaches us about connection. When our minds are uncluttered, we see others more clearly. We hear their words, feel their emotions, and notice the spaces between thoughts. Relationships become less about controlling outcomes or anticipating responses, and more about presence, understanding, and empathy. Each interaction becomes a meditation, a dance of awareness, a reminder that life is alive not in complexity, but in the shared experience of being. Even in the face of uncertainty, simplicity remains. We do not know what tomorrow holds, yet we can live fully today. We cannot control every outcome, yet we can control our attention, our breath, our heart. By returning again and again to the simplicity of now, the mind learns to rest, the heart learns to soften, and life unfolds with gentle ease. Simplicity asks patience. It is not achieved through force, but through gentle, repeated practice. Each noticing, each breath, each act of returning to presence is a seed. Over time, these seeds bloom into calm, clarity, and understanding. The mind, once cluttered, becomes a garden of spaciousness. The heart, once burdened, learns to open freely. And so, my dear friend, let life guide you softly. Notice the small, the simple, the present. Let go of the need to control, to perfect, to solve endlessly. Return to your breath, to your body, to your heart. Observe, accept, and participate fully in each moment. In this gentle embracing of simplicity, the mind quiets, the heart expands, and the soul remembers its true nature, vast, open, and free. Letting go of mental clutter. Ah, my dear friend, Let us sit quietly together for a while and speak of letting go. You know, the mind often becomes a crowded room, filled with old memories, worries, plans, regrets, and endless what-ifs. It is like trying to live in a room packed with furniture that you no longer need, but somehow cannot lift. Every thought pushes against the other. Every worry demands attention, and slowly, we forget what it feels like to breathe freely, to simply be. Letting go, then, is not about abandoning life or responsibilities. It is about removing the unnecessary weight that keeps you from walking lightly on your path. I remember a young monk who came to me, shoulders hunched, eyes heavy, hands trembling slightly from tension. "Master," he said softly, "my mind never stops. I cannot sleep. I cannot eat peacefully. I cannot even pray properly. Everything I do is interrupted by thoughts racing in every direction." I nodded, understanding him deeply, and said, "Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine each thought as a leaf on a river. You do not chase the leaf. You do not push it back upstream. You simply watch it float. Let it drift." Hours passed as he watched the images in his mind rise and fall like leaves on the water, and slowly, a strange calm began to settle in his chest. I feel lighter," he whispered, almost surprised by his own words. And indeed, letting go is like that. It is discovering that the mind can float, that the heart can breathe, and that the soul can remember its spaciousness. Letting go begins with noticing. Notice how the mind clings to certain thoughts, how it rehearses conversations long past, worries about things not yet arrived, or imagines outcomes that may never come. Most of these are illusions, stories we tell ourselves to feel in control, to prepare for a future that is always uncertain. Yet, every moment spent clinging is a moment lost from the reality that is already here, the life that is unfolding beneath your feet, quietly and beautifully. Once, I saw a woman in the marketplace, her arms full of packages, her brow tight with concern. Her voice hurried as she spoke to herself about what must be done next. She seemed unaware of the sunlight falling gently on her face, the laughter of children nearby, the aroma of fresh bread in the air. I said to her, "Do you feel the sun on your skin? Can you hear the laughter around you?" She paused, blinked, and for a moment, her body softened. Her grip on the packages loosened slightly. "It is nice," she said, a small smile forming. I forgot to notice. Letting go often begins with these tiny acts of awareness, noticing what is, without demanding it be anything else. Clutter in the mind is not always bad, for it can show us our attachments and fears. But if left unchecked, it grows like vines in a garden, choking the simple joy of living. I once asked a student to imagine his worries as stones in a sack he carried on his back. "Each stone is a thought, a concern, a regret," I said. "Feel the weight. Feel how it presses against you. Now, one by one, gently lift a stone and set it down on the ground. You may not know if it will roll away, but you can feel it released." He began with one thought, then another, until the burden on his back felt almost imaginary. "It feels possible," he said. "I can live without carrying everything." And this is the essence of letting go. It is possible, always, even if we have forgotten. Letting go is also an act of trust. Trust in life, in the rhythm of your breath, in the unfolding of the world. We often hold on tightly to outcomes, to people, to our own ideas of perfection. We cling because we fear loss, failure, disappointment. Yet, the truth is that life is always changing. People come and go. Moments appear and vanish. The future arrives in its own time. By clinging, we resist the flow, and suffering grows. By letting go, we open our hands and our hearts, and the world can enter us freely, bringing its lessons, its joys, and its peace. I remember walking with a young man along a forest path. He carried many burdens: debts, expectations, family concerns, self-judgment. Each step seemed heavier than the last. I said, "Feel the earth beneath your feet. Let the wind touch your face. Can you sense that life is moving, even as you walk?" He nodded, and we walked silently for a long time. Slowly, he began to speak, not of burdens, but of leaves, birds, sunlight, the sound of water trickling nearby. In noticing what was alive around him, he found the courage to release what was dead, unnecessary, and heavy in his mind. Letting go is also forgiving yourself and others. Often, our thoughts are filled with regrets, guilt, and anger. We replay mistakes endlessly, wishing for another chance, wishing the past were different. Yet, the past has already passed. Holding on to it is like carrying ashes in your hands, expecting warmth. Forgiveness, like letting go, is not condoning. It is freeing yourself from the chains that weigh you down. By releasing resentment and self-blame, your mind becomes spacious, your heart soft, and your steps lighter. Even simple daily actions can be an exercise in letting go. Washing dishes, sweeping the floor, walking to the market. Each can be done with mindfulness, with a gentle attention that allows thoughts to pass without gripping them. The mind begins to understand that it does not need to control everything, that life unfolds whether we hold tightly or let go. With practice, even the strongest habits of overthinking soften, and the joy of presence becomes accessible. I recall a student who feared change, fearing that letting go meant losing everything he cared about. I asked him to hold a handful of water, tight in his fist, and then try to carry it without spilling. "See," I said, "if you clutch too tightly, it slips away. But if you hold it lightly, if you let it rest in your hand without force, you can carry it with ease." He laughed, and in that laughter, a lesson took root. Letting go does not mean loss. It means gentle holding, allowing, and trusting the flow of life. Even in sorrow, letting go brings freedom. Loss, disappointment, grief. These are heavy stones in our mental garden. Yet, if we can allow them space, acknowledge their presence, feel them fully, and then set them down, we discover that our heart is vast, capable of holding more than we imagined. The mind, once restless, becomes a calm pond. The emotions, once sharp, soften into gentle waves. Life continues, and we continue with it, not burdened, not trapped, but open, aware, and alive. And so, my friend, let us practice together, slowly and tenderly. Notice your thoughts, see them clearly, and then imagine placing them on the river, letting them float by. Breathe deeply, feel your body, your surroundings, your heart. Trust that what is important will remain, that what is not needed will drift away. With each moment, the mind becomes lighter, the heart softer, and the soul remembers its innate freedom. Letting go is a lifelong practice, a gentle journey without an end. It does not happen all at once, nor does it demand perfection. Each breath, each step, each observation is a small letting go, a return to simplicity, a touch of peace. Slowly, over time, the weight lifts, the noise quiets, and life becomes a flowing river rather than a cluttered room. And in this gentle flow, we discover that freedom was never far. It was only waiting for us to release our grip, embracing the present moment. Ah, my dear friend, today we speak of something so simple, yet so difficult for most people to truly feel: the present moment. You see, life is always happening now. Yet, how often do we miss it, lost in regrets of the past or anxieties about the future? The mind is a traveler, always moving, always restless, rarely resting where it is. And in this wandering, we forget the gentle rhythm of life, the quiet, tender gifts of now. Embracing the present is not an idea. It is an experience, like feeling the wind brush your face or listening to the quiet song of a bird in the morning. It is noticing the warmth of sunlight on your skin without asking for more, without demanding it be different. I remember a young student who came to me one morning, her eyes tired, her steps heavy, her breath shallow. "Master," she said, "I cannot enjoy anything. I am always thinking, worrying, planning. Life feels like a race I cannot win." I looked at her gently and said, "Do you feel the ground beneath your feet? Feel the weight of your body sitting here with me. Can you notice your breath?" At first, she shook her head, distracted by thoughts, pulled by the currents of her mind. But slowly, as she followed her inhale and exhale, as she felt her chest rise and fall, a soft calm settled over her. I feel something," she whispered. "I feel here." And that, my friend, is the doorway into the present. The simple awareness of being alive right now. The present is alive, full of richness. Yet most people live as if it were a bridge to somewhere else. We sip our tea thinking of meetings to come, eat our food imagining what we should have done, walk through streets lost in mental stories. Life is not in those stories. It is here, in the warmth of the cup, the taste of food, the rhythm of our footsteps. One must learn to taste each moment fully, to feel it without rushing, without trying to hold it or change it. I once walked with a man along a riverbank. He was full of worries about his work, his family, his future. The water flowed beside us, gentle, constant. I said, "Do you hear it? The river is talking to you. Can you listen?" At first, he could not. His mind was a storm of thoughts, each one louder than the last. But as we walked, as he followed the sound of water, as he noticed a leaf floating by, he began to quiet. "It feels different," he said. "I feel like I am not anywhere else but here." And indeed, being present is a kind of arrival. It is not something to achieve, but a place we return to over and over, each breath a step closer. The mind loves to cling to what is not now. Memories from yesterday pull us backward. Worries of tomorrow pull us forward. And we squeeze the present in between, like trying to hold water in our hands. But the present cannot be held. It is alive only when noticed, only when accepted, only when we allow it to be exactly what it is. There is joy here. There is pain here. There is everything here, waiting to be felt without judgment. I remember teaching a young woman who feared losing control. "Master," she said, "if I let myself be present, I may miss something important, something I need to prepare for." I laughed softly. The present does not rob you, it gifts you. It allows you to respond with clarity, without the clutter of fear or anticipation. When you fully live now, your mind becomes sharp, your heart soft, and your life flows with ease. She tried, awkwardly at first, noticing the rustle of leaves, the feel of the sun on her hand, the simple rhythm of her breathing. Slowly, over weeks, she discovered a gentle strength in presence, a steady center that nothing could shake. Even in sorrow, embracing the present transforms experience. Grief, loss, pain. They are heavy, yes, but when we feel them fully in the moment, without pushing them away or running ahead, we discover that life is not gone. Each tear, each ache, each quiet sigh is alive. The present moment holds them tenderly, without judgment, allowing them to pass like clouds in the sky. And as the clouds move, we see the blue beyond, the infinite calm beneath the storm. Often, people ask me how to practice presence in daily life. I tell them, begin simply. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice your hands as they touch objects. Listen to sounds without naming them. Taste food without thinking of what comes next. Look at people without labels. Breathe with full attention, as if each inhale and exhale were a sacred ceremony. In these small acts, the present begins to expand, filling the mind, the heart, the body. I once asked a student to watch a candle flame. He stared, fidgeted, then sighed. "I cannot do this, master. My mind is too busy." I smiled. "Ah, but the flame does not mind your busyness. It simply burns. You are learning to sit with it, to feel without interfering. Each moment you notice the flame. Each breath you take with awareness, you are embracing the present." And slowly, as he watched, his mind stilled. The flame became alive, not just a candle, but a teacher, a friend, a mirror of his own awareness. The present is also a space of gratitude. When you notice life as it is, without pushing or resisting, you begin to see its small miracles. The sound of rain on the roof, the warmth of tea in your hands, the smile of a stranger. These are not trivial. They are the richness of now. And in gratitude, the heart softens, the mind relaxes, and the soul remembers its natural openness. Even work and duty can be a practice of presence. Washing dishes, tending the garden, folding clothes. Each task, mundane though it seems, can be a meditation. Attend fully to what you are doing, not thinking of elsewhere, not rushing ahead. The mind settles. The heart opens. Life, even in simplicity, becomes full, vibrant, and meaningful. I remember walking through a forest with a young man, heavy with regret. He could not escape his past mistakes, could not forgive himself. "Master, how can I embrace the present when I am trapped in my own guilt?" I ask him to feel the wind on his face, to notice the scent of pine, to listen to the birds. Slowly, he began to notice. Slowly, he began to breathe. "I feel alive," he said, "even with my mistakes." And in that breath, a seed of freedom took root. The freedom to be here fully, with life as it is, without clinging, without resisting. The present is patient. It waits for us, even when we wander in our minds. It does not scold or punish. It simply exists, offering its gifts quietly, moment after moment. And each time we notice, each time we return, we step into life fully. We learn that the past is gone, the future is uncertain, but now is always here, offering its depth, its peace, its beauty. So, my dear friend, let us practice together. Let us breathe, notice, observe, and rest in the now. Let us feel the ground beneath us, the air around us, the life within us. Let us taste each moment as it comes, tenderly, with curiosity, with compassion, with love. For in the present, the mind becomes still, the heart opens, and we discover the gentle truth that life is, and has always been, enough. Embracing the present moment is a lifelong journey, not a destination. Each breath, each step, each glance is a chance to return. There is no hurry, no failure, no need to force. Simply notice, simply feel, simply be. And as you do, the river of life flows through you, clear and calm, carrying you home to yourself, to peace, to understanding, finding stillness within. Ah, my dear friend, today we talk about something that everyone thinks they understand, yet very few truly feel: stillness. You know, stillness is not just about sitting quietly or closing your eyes. It is much more than that. It is the gentle pause in the heart, the calm that exists even when the world outside is moving fast, when noise, chaos, and worries press upon us from every side. Most people believe stillness is the absence of activity, but it is really the presence of awareness, the quiet recognition that you are alive and that life itself is enough. I remember a student who came to me one early morning, restless and anxious. She had tried meditation many times, but felt that her mind would never calm. "Master," she said, "I cannot stop thinking. Even when I sit, my thoughts rush like rivers." I smiled and told her, Stillness is not about stopping thoughts. It is about noticing them, like watching clouds float across the sky. You do not have to hold them, change them, or fight them. You simply let them pass, and in the space between, you find stillness. She frowned at first, unsure, then slowly began to follow her own breath, noticing it rise and fall, in and out like a gentle tide. And in that noticing, even for a few seconds, a tiny wave of calm came. She said softly, "I think I feel something." And that, my friend, is the doorway to stillness, the quiet awareness that you exist beyond the chatter of the mind. Stillness can be found anywhere, not just on a meditation cushion. It can be in washing your hands slowly, feeling the water flow over your skin, in walking along a path and noticing each step, the touch of your feet on the earth, the rhythm of your legs moving, the air brushing your face. People often overlook these moments, thinking stillness is only found in silence or solitude. But life itself gives countless opportunities to touch it, if we are willing to notice. I once walked with a man through the market, crowded and noisy, and asked him, "Can you feel your feet? Can you notice the sound of the bells, the color of the fruits, the warmth of the sunlight on your face?" At first he could not. The mind was full of worries about money, about work, about what he had forgotten. But slowly, as he followed the simple sensations, a quiet calm appeared, as if the noise had not disappeared, but he had learned to sit above it, like a bird flying over a storm. Stillness is also found in breathing, though people rarely notice it. Each breath is a miracle, a rhythm that carries life itself. Yet so many go through life without paying attention, rushing, anxious, pulled by desires and fears. I tell students often, sit, breathe, and feel your breath. Do not try to control it. Just notice. Follow it as it comes and goes. In this gentle observation, the mind softens, the heart opens, and a deep calm arises naturally. And when you are calm within, even the busiest streets, the heaviest burdens, the loudest noise cannot disturb your inner stillness. I once asked a young woman, anxious and overworked, to close her eyes and imagine a quiet lake. She frowned, saying, "Master, I cannot stop thinking about my deadlines." I said gently, You do not need to stop thinking. Just notice the thoughts as they come and go. Imagine the lake still beneath them. Thoughts are like ripples on the water. Stillness is the water itself, always beneath. Slowly, she felt her chest soften, her mind lighten. "It feels gentle," she whispered. And yes, stillness is gentle, not forceful. You do not grab it, push it, or demand it. It is found in acceptance, in surrender to the flow of life without resistance. Even in difficulty, stillness is possible. Pain, fear, loss. These are part of life, unavoidable at times. Yet, when we can find a quiet place inside, even for a brief moment, we are able to meet these challenges with clarity and compassion. A student once came to me grieving a personal loss. He was shaking, tears streaming. "Master, I cannot bear this," he said. I took his hand and said, "Sit with it. Feel it. Let the sadness exist, but do not let it sweep away the calm that is already within you. Breathe, even through your sorrow, and find the space that remains untouched." Slowly, over minutes, the storm in his heart softened. He found a quiet place where grief could be felt without being overwhelmed. This is stillness. Not the absence of feeling, but the presence of a steady, unshakable center. People often think that stillness is only for moments of quiet, for mornings or evenings when life seems soft and slow. But true stillness is alive in motion. It is the awareness that moves with you, flowing with the rhythm of life. Whether you are cooking, walking, working, talking, or listening, stillness can exist. It is the silent thread that weaves through all activities, the quiet center that anchors the heart. I have seen students in the busiest marketplaces, in the middle of construction sites, in homes full of children, and yet they were able to sit quietly inside, fully present, fully calm. And you too, my friend, can discover this. It is not about where you are, but how you are. Stillness is also a teacher. It teaches patience, for it cannot be forced. It teaches compassion, for in quietness we see the world clearly. It teaches presence, for when we are still, we notice the life that has always been around us. I often remind students, the world may be noisy, life may be chaotic, yet within you there is always a place untouched by these storms. Return there often. Sit, breathe, notice, feel. And in doing so, you will understand life not as a burden, but as a gentle flow carrying you with ease. Even the simplest acts can bring stillness. Drinking tea, walking barefoot on grass, listening to rain, watching a child sleep, folding clothes with attention. These are all opportunities. They seem ordinary, yet they are extraordinary because they connect us with the calm beneath the chaos, the quiet beneath the noise. Each moment we notice, each breath we feel, each sense we engage fully is a doorway into stillness. I recall a student who struggled with anger. Every small irritation would ignite him, and his mind became a storm. I asked him to notice his breathing, to feel the tension in his body, to allow the anger to exist without letting it control him. At first, he could not, but gradually, he discovered that even in the midst of anger, there was a space that was calm, steady, untouchable. "It feels like I am separate from my rage," he said. And indeed, stillness allows us to witness, to feel, to experience life fully without being consumed. Finding stillness within is not about perfection. Thoughts will come, feelings will arise, distractions will intrude. This is normal. Stillness is about returning, again and again, without judgment, with patience, with kindness. It is like a river that flows constantly. Even when the surface is rippled, deep below, the water is calm. We must learn to dive below the surface and touch that calm. And the more we practice, the more natural it becomes. I often tell students, sit for a few moments each day, notice your breath, notice your body, notice the world without labels, without judgment. Even if the mind resists, even if it wanders, return gently. Each return is a step into stillness. Each notice is a seed of peace. Over time, these seeds grow, and you find that your life, even amidst chaos, carries an inner sanctuary. Stillness is not escape, nor avoidance. It is courage, for it takes bravery to sit with life as it is, without running to distraction, without seeking comfort. It is honesty, for in stillness we see ourselves clearly, without masks. It is freedom, for when we are calm inside, we are not ruled by every passing thought or feeling. And in this freedom, we live fully, with clarity, with love, with wisdom. So, my dear friend, let us practice stillness together, not as an act of doing, but as an act of being, not as an achievement, but as a return to what is always here. Sit, breathe, notice, feel, and allow yourself to be cradled by the quiet heart of life. Even for a few breaths, even for a few moments, you touch something eternal. And in those moments, you will find that the world is gentle, that life is tender, that you are enough just as you are. Embracing impermanence. Ah, my dear friend, today we sit together to speak about something that touches every heart, yet most of us avoid it. Impermanence. The world around us is never still. Everything changes, moves, flows, and shifts like water in a river or clouds in the sky. People fear it, resist it, try to hold on, but impermanence is the very nature of life. You cannot stop it, no matter how hard you try. The flower will bloom and fade, the day will rise and fall, the seasons will turn, and our own lives, our bodies, our feelings, they too are passing. This is not to make you afraid, my friend, but to awaken you, to show that freedom lies in embracing change rather than resisting it. I remember a student who clutched at her plans for the future, afraid that anything might go wrong. "Master," she said, "I cannot let go. If I do, everything will collapse." I looked at her gently and said, "Ah, the world collapses only if you believe it must stay the same. Change is always happening, whether you resist it or not. To hold too tightly is to suffer. To let go, even a little, is to feel life as it is, and in that you find peace." She frowned, unsure, but slowly, as we walked along the riverbank, she watched the water move, noticed the leaves drifting downstream, and something within her softened. "I see," she whispered. "It does not stop, and yet it is beautiful." Yes, my friend, beauty and impermanence are inseparable. Impermanence teaches us to cherish what we have while we have it. The warm sunlight on your face, the laughter of a child, the touch of a friend, these moments are fleeting. If we wait too long, they are gone. Yet, when we truly notice them, deeply, fully, we taste the richness of life. A student once came complaining that life was unfair, that she had lost something dear. I said to her, "Ah, yes, it is gone, but you had it. Remember it, feel it, honor it, and it will live in your heart. Nothing lasts forever, yet nothing is truly lost when you embrace it fully in the present." She sat quietly, tears falling, and smiled through the grief. In that acceptance, impermanence became a friend, not an enemy. People often fear loss, fear change, fear the unknown. Yet impermanence is not cruel. It is simply the way things are. Life is a river, and we are like leaves upon its surface. Sometimes the current is gentle, sometimes swift. We cannot control the river, but we can float with it, feel it, and see the wonders along the way. I recall a man who resisted change all his life, afraid to leave his home, afraid to try new things, afraid to let go of old habits. He carried worry like a heavy stone, and it weighed him down. Slowly, through small steps, noticing each breath, each movement, each sensation, he learned that letting go of fear did not bring chaos, but a strange freedom. Change became a rhythm, a dance, and life became lighter. Impermanence also reminds us to forgive ourselves and others. When we cling to what was, to mistakes, to regrets, we suffer. But when we accept that everything passes, even pain and sorrow, we can release resentment. I remember a student who had been hurt deeply by a friend. "Master, I cannot forgive," he said. I took his hand and said, "Ah, nothing stays the same. Even this hurt will pass. If you hold it too tightly, it poisons your heart. Let it move, let it change, and you will feel lighter." Forgiveness is not for them. It is for you to honor the impermanent nature of all things. Slowly, he let go, and for the first time in years, he breathed freely, as if the weight of the past had melted into the river. Impermanence is not only about sadness or loss. It is also about joy and wonder. The taste of sweet fruit, the sound of a song, the beauty of a sunset, these too are fleeting. That is what makes them precious. If everything were permanent, would we notice it all? We are awakened to life's richness because nothing lasts. I often remind students, do not cling to joy as if it will remain forever, nor fear pain as if it will never end. Both are temporary. Both are teachers. Both are windows into the truth of existence. Even our bodies, my friend, are impermanent. Every heartbeat, every breath, every cell is in motion, changing, dissolving, renewing. People fear aging, fear sickness, fear death. Yet these are part of life's rhythm. If we resist, we suffer. If we accept, we can move gracefully with time. I remember a woman, wise but fearful of growing old. She asked me, "Master, how can I be at peace with this?" I said, "See yourself as part of the river. Your body, your mind, your heart, they flow, they change. Each moment is new. Embrace it, feel it, love it, and you will find peace in impermanence." She smiled, feeling the gentle truth, feeling life flowing through her like a stream, alive and transient. Impermanence also teaches us humility. We are not the masters of time, nor can we hold the world in our hands. Yet this is not defeat, it is liberation. By recognizing the fleeting nature of all things, we see what is truly important. Presence, love, awareness, compassion, and gratitude. These are the treasures that remain even as everything else changes. I often tell students, do not waste energy fighting what passes. Notice, honor, and move with it. In this, you discover freedom beyond fear. Even relationships, dear friend, are subject to impermanence. People come and go, connections change, feelings shift. It is natural. Instead of clinging to what was, we can embrace what is. We can love deeply in the present, without grasping, without fear. I remember a young man who lost a beloved companion. His heart was heavy, but through breathing, noticing, and accepting, he learned to carry the love forward without clinging to absence. "Master," he said, "I feel the love still, though they are gone." Yes, love does not vanish because the form changes. Impermanence teaches us how to see it clearly, deeply, and freely. Impermanence encourages simplicity. When we realize that nothing lasts, we stop hoarding, stop accumulating, stop clinging. Life becomes lighter, freer, more alive. We learn to treasure moments, not things, experiences, not possessions, presence, not permanence. I often watch students walking lightly, noticing, breathing, feeling, without carrying unnecessary burdens. And they move gracefully, like birds in the sky, untroubled by what is past or what will come. Even thoughts, my friend, are impermanent. Every worry, every plan, every fear, every joy comes and goes. To observe this is liberating. We are not our thoughts. We are the witness of them. I often say to students, do not fight your mind, do not chase it. Watch it, feel it, and let it pass like clouds in the sky. In this gentle noticing, we learn that life flows, and we flow with it, without grasping or resisting. Impermanence is also a teacher of courage. To live fully, we must face change, uncertainty, and loss. We must walk into the river of life without clinging to the shore. And yet, in this courage, there is joy. There is freedom. There is a deep knowing that life, in all its fleeting beauty, is enough. I remember a student standing at the edge of a cliff, terrified of leaping, afraid of change, afraid of falling. I said, jump or do not, but know that the ground is not your concern. The river carries you. Trust it, feel it, live it. And when he stepped forward, he felt alive, truly alive, because impermanence had become his teacher, not his enemy. So, my dear friend, embrace impermanence as a friend, a guide, a gentle teacher. Notice the changing leaves, the flowing water, the rising sun, the passing clouds. Notice your own body, your own mind, your own heart. Feel the fleetingness of every moment. And in that, discover the depth, the beauty, the freedom, the joy. Nothing lasts forever, and that, my friend, is the most precious truth of all. Life is a river, and we are invited to float, to move, to notice, to love, and to be fully alive, even as everything changes. Finding stillness within. Ah, my dear friend, today we sit together to speak about something that seems simple, yet is so very rare in our lives. Stillness. People often think stillness is about doing nothing, about sitting silently for hours, but true stillness is much deeper than that. It is not the absence of activity. It is the presence of calm, the quiet clarity within, even amidst movement and noise. Many come to me restless, burdened by thoughts, by worries, by plans, and they ask, "Master, how do I find peace?" I smile gently, because the answer is not something you grasp with effort. It is something you allow to unfold, like the lotus in the pond, slowly, naturally, without forcing. I remember a young student, anxious and hurried, always rushing from one task to another, unable to sit quietly even for a few moments. "Master," he said, "my mind never stops. I cannot breathe. I cannot sleep. I feel trapped." I looked at him, his eyes wide, restless, and I said, "Ah, you are like a river that never rests. The current is strong, and yet you forget that even rivers have places where the water calms, where it pools, where it mirrors the sky. You must find your pool, your quiet place, and visit it often." He frowned, confused, but we began simply, just noticing the breath, feeling the air enter, feeling it leave, not trying to change it, just noticing. Stillness begins with noticing. Noticing the body, noticing the breath, noticing the mind. So often, people resist noticing because it brings discomfort. They fear what they might see inside themselves. But if you can just watch gently without judgment, without needing to fix anything, you will discover a quiet space, a stillness that was there all along, hidden beneath the noise. I often tell students, do not chase stillness. Do not force it. Let it find you. Sit, breathe, and watch. That is enough. And slowly, slowly, the mind softens, the heart softens, and the stillness blooms like a hidden flower. I remember an elderly man who had lived a life of constant worry. Every day he feared loss, feared failure, feared the unknown. When he came to me, he asked, "Master, can I ever be still? My mind is a storm." I guided him to the garden, to a simple bench under a tree. We sat together, listening to the wind in the leaves, watching a bird land on a branch. I said, "See, even the bird does not cling to anything. It perches, rests, and then moves again. Can you be like the bird, even for a moment?" He laughed softly, a sound that had not been free in many years, and for the first time, he felt the weight of his thoughts lighten. Stillness, he realized, was not the absence of movement, but a gentle presence, a tender awareness. People often mistake stillness for escape. They think if they close their eyes, if they avoid the world, they will find it. But true stillness is not hiding. It is being fully present with what is. The noise, the chaos, the responsibilities, they are all part of life. Stillness does not remove them. It allows you to meet them with calm, to act without being swept away, to feel without being overwhelmed. I remember a woman, young and bright, who felt lost in her busy life. She asked me, "Master, how can I find stillness when everything is so loud?" I said, Stillness is not about silencing the world. It is about listening deeply, noticing the rhythm of your own heart, and finding the space between the beats. That space is infinite. That space is stillness. I often tell my students that stillness is a teacher. It teaches patience, it teaches presence, it teaches compassion. When the mind is quiet, we see more clearly. We notice the suffering of others, the beauty around us, the subtle movements of life that are easy to miss when we are rushing. I remember a young monk who was impatient, always wanting answers, always wanting to move faster. I guided him to sit by a stream. "Listen," I said. "The water does not hurry, yet it shapes the stones. The current flows, yet it nourishes life along its path. Stillness is not in stopping. It is in flowing wisely, gently, fully." He listened, and for the first time, he understood that stillness could exist even in motion, that it was a quality of presence, not absence. Sometimes, my dear friend, people fear stillness because it brings them face to face with themselves. Thoughts they have ignored, feelings they have buried, memories they have resisted. These arise when the mind is quiet. But stillness is a gentle companion. It does not judge. It does not push. It allows everything to surface, and in that seeing, we discover clarity. I remember a student, young and shy, who feared her own anger. When we sat quietly together, she cried, laughed, and trembled, all at once. And in the middle of that, she said softly, "Master, I feel free." Yes, freedom comes not from controlling, but from noticing, from being still enough to meet what is. Stillness also deepens our connection to the world. When we are quiet, we notice the tiny miracles around us. The way sunlight falls on the grass, the delicate pattern of a spider's web, the whisper of wind against the trees. Life is always moving, always changing, yet in stillness, we can feel it fully. I often take students to the mountains to watch the clouds gather and disperse. They are amazed. "Master, how can this be so beautiful?" I smile and say, Beauty is always here. You simply have not been still enough to notice." Stillness is the key to noticing, to being alive to every moment. Even amidst pain, stillness is possible. People think that suffering must be fought, resisted, escaped. But when we are still, we can feel the pain without being consumed. We can breathe through it, sit with it, and allow it to teach us. I remember a man grieving the loss of his child. He was devastated, unable to eat, unable to sleep. We sat together, not speaking. I held his hand, simply breathing. After a long silence, he whispered, "Master, I feel something soft, even in this sadness." Yes, stillness can hold grief, can hold fear, can hold loss. And in that holding, we are transformed. Stillness is also a doorway to joy. People often search for happiness outside, in achievements, in possessions, in recognition. But true joy arises in quiet presence, in simple noticing. The laughter of a friend, the warmth of the sun, the taste of tea. These moments, when fully felt, bring a depth of joy that nothing else can. I remember a young student who felt life was dull and empty. I asked her to sit quietly by a pond, to watch the fish swim, to feel the breeze. She laughed softly. "Master, I never noticed it is so alive." That is stillness, the gateway to life's richness. Even in action, stillness can exist. A skilled monk sweeping the floor, cooking, or walking meditatively is fully present. The mind is calm, attentive, aware. This is stillness in motion, and it transforms ordinary acts into profound practice. I often tell students, do not seek stillness only in meditation. Find it in washing dishes, in walking, in speaking, in loving. Everywhere you go, bring your awareness, your gentle presence, your soft heart. That is true stillness. Ah, my dear friend, stillness is not a destination. It is a journey, a practice, a way of being. It is gentle, patient, forgiving. It meets fear without fighting. It meets joy without clinging. It meets life without rushing. Every breath, every heartbeat, every step can be an invitation to stillness. And in that invitation, we discover peace, clarity, love, and freedom. So today, I invite you not to run, not to escape, not to chase, but simply to sit, breathe, notice, and allow. The world will move around you. Yes, the river flows, the clouds shift, the wind blows, and you, my friend, can find your calm, your quiet space within, your stillness. And in that stillness, life is revealed deeply, tenderly, beautifully, fully, embracing the flow of life. Ah, my dear friend, now we come to speak about something that is both gentle and wild, quiet and unstoppable. Life itself. Many think they must control it, shape it, hold it tightly in their hands, but life, like water, flows where it will. To embrace it is not to resist, not to fight, not to cling. It is to move with it, to feel its currents, to sense its rhythm, and to be present in every shift, every wave, every quiet ripple. I often watch the students, anxious and hurried, struggling against the currents of their own days, and I smile softly, for I remember when I too tried to grasp life as if it were a stone. But life is not a stone. It is a river, a wind, a cloud, always moving, always changing, and in its movement, there is beauty, there is teaching, there is peace. I remember a young woman who came to me, exhausted by her own desires, by the weight of expectations, by the constant whispering of her mind. She asked, "Master, how do I live without fear, without regret, without feeling lost?" I looked at her, her eyes wide, searching, and I said, "Ah, child, life is never without change. It is never without uncertainty. To embrace life is to hold it lightly, to let it pass through you, and to notice the lessons in each moment. You cannot stop the wind, but you can feel it, you can bend with it, you can let it cool your face." She frowned, confused, but we began simply, noticing the small things. The warmth of the sun on her hands, the sound of birds in the trees, the subtle rhythm of her own breath. Slowly, slowly, her face softened, her mind softened, and she felt, for the first time in many days, the gentle flow of life moving through her. Many people fear change because it feels like loss. They fear the leaving behind of old habits, old comforts, old identities. Yet, life teaches us that nothing remains the same. The seasons shift, the leaves fall, the rivers move, and so must we. I remember an elderly man who had lived the same routine for decades, afraid of stepping outside his habits. I took him to a quiet hill, where the trees were shedding their golden leaves, and I said, "See, even the trees let go. They do not cling to what was, and yet they bloom again when the time is right." Life asks the same of us, to hold lightly, to release, to trust that new growth will come. He sighed deeply, feeling the truth of the words, and in that moment, he began to understand that embracing life is less about holding tightly and more about opening the hands, softening the heart, and walking gently with the world. I often speak to the students about the small moments that reveal life's flow. The way a smile passes from one face to another, the way the wind carries scents from far away, the way a child's laughter fills a room. These are life's whispers, gentle reminders that it moves constantly, whether we notice or not. One young boy asked me, "Master, how can I embrace life if I do not know where it is going?" I smiled and said, You already embrace it every time you breathe, every time you feel the sunlight, every time you hear a bird, every time you laugh or cry, you are in life. The destination is not the point. The flow itself is the point. Pain, too, is part of this flow. Many fear it, resist it, run from it. But life without sorrow is not life at all. I remember a woman grieving the loss of her home in a fire. She could not sleep, could not eat, could not see beyond the ashes. We sat together by a small stream, listening to the water. I said, "Even this water moves over stones, over debris, over broken branches. It does not cling. It does not resist. It simply flows. Life too moves through loss and gain, joy and sorrow, through all that comes. To embrace life is to flow with it, even when it hurts." She looked at the stream, tears mixing with a soft smile, and she began slowly to let the pain move through her rather than trap her. Embracing life also means embracing uncertainty. People crave security, a map, a guarantee, yet life offers none. This is both frightening and beautiful. I remember a young monk, fearful of the unknown path, trembling at the thought of stepping beyond the monastery walls. I took his hand and said, "See the sky? It does not promise tomorrow's weather. The river does not promise its course. And yet both move, breathe, exist fully. So too must you move, even without knowing the path. Embrace the uncertainty, and you will find freedom." He looked into my eyes, and I saw the first flicker of trust, the gentle understanding that life's flow can be held in the heart, even if the eyes cannot see the way. Joy, too, is part of the flow. People often wait for grand moments, forgetting that life's current carries tiny wonders. A flower blooming, the warmth of tea in your hands, the first drop of rain after a dry spell. These are the treasures of living fully. One morning, a young girl asked me, "Master, how can I find happiness?" I laughed softly and said, Happiness is here always. It is in the sunlight, in the wind, in your own breath. Stop chasing it. Notice it, and it will touch your heart." She looked around, slowly seeing the richness she had overlooked, and she laughed, the pure sound of presence, a sound that embraced life wholly. Even amidst busyness, life's flow can be felt. Washing dishes, walking to the market, working with hands, speaking with friends. These ordinary acts are imbued with life's rhythm when done with attention, with presence. I often guide students to see the sacredness in the mundane. A broom sweeping the floor, a spoon stirring tea, a simple breath. These are the flowing river, the moving wind, the dancing cloud. Life does not demand grandeur. It simply asks presence, openness, and gentle participation. Fear is a current we all meet. Fear of failure, of loss, of being forgotten. Yet fear does not need to dominate. Life teaches us to move with fear, to let it inform us, to acknowledge it, and then to step forward anyway. I remember a man who had long feared speaking his truth. His heart trembled, his hands shook, but when he finally spoke with honesty, he felt the flow of life rushing through him, lifting him, freeing him. Fear was no longer a chain. It was a signal, a teacher, a partner in the dance of living. Love, too, is the water in the river. It moves, it nourishes, it carries life forward. People resist love, afraid of its pain, afraid of loss. Yet life without love is stagnant. I often say, open your heart like the river opens to the sea. Let it flow, let it touch, let it move, and you will know life's true sweetness. A young couple once came to me. worried about uncertainty in their future. I told them, do not cling to certainty. Let love be your guide. Trust the flow, trust each other, and life will unfold in ways beyond imagining. And slowly, they began to trust, to move together, and to embrace life fully. Ah, my dear friend, life is not a puzzle to solve, nor a prize to win. It is a river, a wind, a cloud, a rhythm. It is to be felt, to be noticed, to be danced with, to be flowed with. Every breath, every heartbeat, every step is an opportunity to embrace it, gently, softly, with presence and warmth. Do not resist. Do not cling. Let the river carry you. Let the wind lift you. Let the cloud shade and reveal you. And in that movement, in that dance, you will find freedom, peace, and joy. So today, I invite you, my dear friend, to notice, to breathe, to feel, to open your heart to life's gentle, wild, unstoppable flow. The world will move, and you, tender and awake, can move with it softly, fully, beautifully. Life is here, always, for you to embrace. The gentle art of letting go. Ah, my dear friend, today we sit together to speak of something both tender and profound, something that touches the very heart of our being. The art of letting go. Many people think letting go means losing, giving up, or being empty. But in truth, letting go is not emptiness. It is space. Space for life to breathe, space for joy to enter, space for the heart to soften. I have seen many wander through life clutching tightly to what they call security, to what they call comfort. And in their grasp, they feel heavy, burdened, exhausted. Letting go is not a forceful act. It is gentle. It is like a leaf falling from a tree, like water flowing over rocks, like clouds drifting across a soft blue sky. I remember a young man who came to me, weighed down by regret and anger. He said, "Master, I cannot stop thinking about the wrongs done to me. I cannot forgive. I cannot move on." I looked into his eyes and spoke softly. "Ah, my child, do you carry the past to protect yourself, or do you carry it because you do not yet trust the present?" The mind clings because it fears emptiness, but letting go is not emptying. It is trusting. Trusting life, trusting time, trusting the gentle movement of your own heart. He nodded slowly, though not fully understanding, but his shoulders softened just a little, and in that softening, a seed of release was planted. Letting go is often confused with forgetting, but one does not need to forget to let go. You may remember, you may feel, you may even carry the lessons in your heart. The difference is that the past no longer holds you captive. It no longer dictates your every thought. It no longer chains your spirit. I tell the students, imagine a river carrying fallen leaves. The leaves do not resist the water. They do not fight it. They float, move, turn, and eventually become part of the flow. This is letting go, not erasing, not forgetting, but allowing the river of life to move freely. Many resist letting go because they confuse it with weakness. To release is often seen as surrender, as giving up. But there is great strength in letting go. A mountain is strong because it does not cling to the clouds. It stands solid, yet receives the wind, the rain, the sunlight, all without holding them captive. In the same way, a heart that lets go is strong. It is present. It is tender. It is awake. One cannot truly hold life without first learning to let it flow. I remember a woman who grieved the end of a relationship. She clung to memories, to imagined futures, to what might have been. Her eyes were weary, her sleep restless, her heart heavy. I sat with her beneath an old tree, feeling the cool breeze on our faces, and I said, "See this tree? It does not cling to its old leaves. When the season comes, it lets them fall, And yet, new leaves will grow. Life moves, always. Letting go is simply trusting that the new will come. Trusting that your heart is resilient, that it can bloom again. She looked at me with tears in her eyes, and in that quiet moment, she allowed herself to exhale, to release just a little, and for the first time in weeks, she felt the gentle stirrings of peace. Letting go is not always about grand gestures. Often, it is found in small acts. Releasing a harsh word, forgiving a minor slight, turning off the mind's constant chatter, closing a door softly rather than slamming it. I encourage the students to practice letting go daily, in these tiny moments. For in these moments, the habit of release grows, and slowly, imperceptibly, it spreads into the larger currents of life. Even a single deep breath can be an act of letting go. The old tension, the fear, the worry, exhaled, released, making room for something softer, something gentle. The fear of letting go is natural. Fear whispers that if you release, you will lose yourself, that life will slip through your fingers, that emptiness will swallow you. Yet emptiness is not a void to fear. It is a space to rest in, a space to grow, a space to be free. I remind those who come to me with fear. The sky does not hold on to clouds, yet it is never empty. Your heart, too, can release and still remain whole. In fact, it becomes fuller, richer, more alive. Attachment is a river with many currents. Attachment to people, to possessions, to ideas, to plans. Each attachment tugs, pulls, constrains. We think we are secure in our attachments, but in truth, they are heavy chains, invisible yet powerful. The gentle art of letting go is learning to loosen your grip, to feel the currents without being pulled under, to float with awareness and calm, to trust that even without clinging, you are safe, you are enough, you are whole. I recall a monk who feared losing his place in the monastery hierarchy. He worried, planned, strived, tightened his hands around imagined security. One morning, as we walked through the misty garden, I asked him to release his grip on his fears for just a single step. Step forward without clinging, I said. Trust the ground beneath your feet. Trust the world. He hesitated, then slowly lifted a foot, then the other, and with each step, his chest expanded, his mind quieted, and he understood, even if only a little, that release is the gateway to freedom. Letting go also means releasing the expectations we hold for ourselves. Many suffer because they insist on being a certain way, achieving certain outcomes, living up to imagined ideals. I often tell the students, life does not need your control. Life needs your presence. Stop measuring your worth by outcomes. Stop weighing your heart with shoulds. Let go of the heavy load of expectation, and you will find wings you never knew you had. Love is a gentle teacher in this art. We may hold too tightly to love, fearing its loss, fearing its pain. But to hold tightly is to resist its true nature. True love is a river, free and flowing. To embrace it fully, one must let go of fear, of clinging, of imagined ownership. I remember a couple who clung to each other in ways that brought suffering. I said, love is freedom. To let go is to let love breathe, to let it be alive, to let it move through you and beyond you. They practiced this slowly, tenderly, and discovered that in release, love deepened, expanded, became more beautiful than before. Letting go is also about forgiving, but not always for others, for ourselves as well. We carry mistakes, regrets, words spoken and unspoken, paths chosen and abandoned. We beat ourselves with memory and guilt. I tell the students, forgive yourself as the river forgives the stones it flows over. Forgive yourself as the wind forgives the branches it bends. Let go of blame. Let go of shame. Let go of the weight. And you will find your heart lighter, your breath freer, your spirit awake. Ah, my dear friend, the art of letting go is endless. It is practiced in a moment, and yet in a lifetime. It is gentle, soft, unassuming, yet it transforms everything. It opens space for joy, for peace, for love. It allows life to move without resistance, to flow without obstruction, to reach the places it needs to reach. Even sorrow, even fear, even pain can be embraced and released, flowing through you like a gentle stream, leaving you refreshed, renewed, tender, awake. So today, let us practice together. Close your eyes, breathe deeply. Notice the tension in your hands, your shoulders, your mind. Let it soften. Imagine it flowing away like water slipping over rocks. Feel the gentle release of worry, the quiet surrender of fear, the soft exhale of past pain. Let go, not to be empty, but to be full of life. Let go, not to lose, but to gain freedom. Let go, and in this gentle art, discover the boundless space within your own heart. The river moves, the wind blows, the clouds drift, and you, tender and aware, may release and flow with them, opening to life as it is, soft, unpredictable, alive, and wondrous, embracing the stillness within. Ah, my dear one, today we are going to sit together in a quiet space, not the kind of quiet that is forced, but the quiet that naturally comes when the mind softens, when the breath slows, when the heart notices itself just as it is. You see, in our lives, we are always running after time, running after thoughts, running after what we think will make us safe, happy, complete. And in this constant running, we forget that stillness exists, right here, always, waiting quietly to be welcomed. I remember a student who came to me, full of questions, full of anxieties, full of restless energy. She said, "Master, I cannot stop my mind. It races. I feel trapped in it. I feel like I am drowning in thought." I looked at her gently and said, "Do you think the mind is your enemy, or is it simply a river flowing through you?" Stillness is not the absence of thought. It is the space in which thought appears and disappears. It is the calm beneath the waves, the quiet within the storm. Let us find that quiet together. Stillness is not empty. Do not mistake it for emptiness, because emptiness can feel hollow and cold, but stillness is warm. It is the soft pause in a conversation, the gentle breath between movements, the way sunlight rests on a leaf. Stillness is like a mother's embrace, tender, steady, unassuming. I often tell the students, stillness is not found by trying to force it. It comes when you stop resisting the moment, when you stop trying to change what is, and simply allow yourself to be. There is a story I like to tell. Long ago, there was a man who sought wisdom in every corner of the world. He climbed mountains, crossed rivers, and visited teachers in distant lands. Yet, he could not find peace. One day, exhausted, he sat beneath a tree and closed his eyes. He did nothing, asked for nothing, sought nothing. And in that simple sitting, he discovered a profound truth. All along, stillness had been within him, quietly waiting, patient, unconditional. He had been searching outward when the answer was already in the heart, resting softly like a hidden flower in the shade. Stillness is not merely for meditation cushions or quiet temples. It is for life itself. It is present when a child laughs in the street, when the rain falls on your hands, when the aroma of tea rises from a cup. But we often miss it because we are chasing noise, chasing distractions, chasing tomorrow. The Zen way is to notice these moments, to welcome them fully, to breathe them in, and let the mind rest with them. The mind, you see, is like a restless bird. Stillness does not cage it. It simply lets it perch, rests beside it, and watches it fly when it chooses. I recall an old monk who struggled with worry. His thoughts circled endlessly, like clouds that could not settle. He came to me and said, "Master, I cannot find quiet. I cannot find rest." I asked him to close his eyes and follow his breath, not changing it, not controlling it, just noticing it. In the beginning, he was restless, fidgeting, wanting it to be different. But slowly, his attention softened. He noticed the rise and fall of the chest, the way the air touched the tip of the nose, the gentle sound of the breath as it moved. In that simple noticing, stillness began to arrive. It was not dramatic, it was not sudden, but it was real, and it was enough. Stillness teaches us patience. Life rushes, but stillness shows us the value of slowing down, of feeling time not as a burden, but as a friend. There is a deep wisdom in the simple act of sitting quietly, noticing your own heart, noticing the world around you, and breathing with it. Even in chaos, there can be stillness. Even in sorrow, there can be a pause of grace. It does not take the sorrow away, but it allows your heart to breathe with it, to rest with it, to be tender with it. When we embrace stillness, we also embrace presence. The present moment is like a delicate flower. If we are lost in thought, we cannot notice it. If we are lost in fear or worry, we cannot feel it. But in stillness, the present blooms. We notice the way the sunlight warms the skin, the way a sound carries softly through the air, the way the mind quiets for a moment and allows life to simply exist. Presence is not effortful. It is the natural fruit of stillness. It is the gentle awareness that you are alive, right here, right now, without needing to change, fix, or grasp. I remember a story of a river in my village. In spring, the river flows fast and wild. People try to catch fish by rushing, splashing, forcing nets. And often, they grow tired, frustrated, and empty-handed. But the old fisherman sits quietly, observing the flow. He notices where the water slows, where the fish gather, where the currents shift. In his stillness, he catches what others could not. Life is like that river. In stillness, we notice what is otherwise missed. In stillness, clarity arises, like a calm pool reflecting the sky. Stillness also teaches compassion. When the mind is quiet, the heart opens. It is in the quiet moments that we can feel the suffering of others, not as a burden, but as a gentle understanding. We are not numb, we are not detached. We are simply awake enough to notice, and in noticing, the softening occurs. The young monk who could not stop worrying about the world learned, in stillness, that to help others, one must first be calm. The candle cannot light another if it flickers in the wind. Stillness is the steady flame from which compassion flows naturally. And yet, stillness does not mean inaction. It is not inertia. It is not laziness. Stillness is a foundation. From this foundation, movement arises naturally, skillfully, tenderly. I have watched students sit in quiet meditation for long hours, and when they rise, their actions are gentle, deliberate, filled with awareness. They speak softly, walk softly, and touch life with care. Stillness nurtures this way of being. It is the source from which thoughtful action emerges, from which understanding blossoms, from which love flows without force. Fear often blocks stillness. People fear silence, fear emptiness, fear facing themselves without distraction. But I tell them, do not fear stillness. It is not an enemy. It is your friend. It will not judge. It will not rush. It will not leave. It is always here, always patient, always tender. You may come to it when you are ready, and it will welcome you with open arms. Even the smallest act, closing the eyes, feeling the breath, noticing a thought and letting it pass begins the practice. Slowly, imperceptibly, the mind relaxes and the heart opens. Ah, my dear one, the path of stillness is endless, yet simple. You do not need to travel to distant lands, climb mountains, or perform great deeds. You only need to notice, to breathe, to allow. The trees, the river, the wind, they teach this naturally. Humans often forget, but stillness waits, patiently, gently whispering. Here now rest. Here now be. Let us breathe together now, slowly, deeply. Feel the rise and fall of the chest, the gentle pause between each breath. Notice your thoughts as clouds, drifting across the sky of your mind. Do not chase them. Do not fight them. Simply observe. Feel the quiet expand, softening your body, your mind, your heart. This is stillness. This is home. This is the gentle, tender gift that life offers when we stop, just for a moment, and embrace it fully. Stillness is not something to be earned. It is not a prize. It is already here, within you, within every heartbeat, within every breath, within every quiet glance at the world. The mind may wander, the heart may ache, the world may roar, but stillness remains soft, patient, tender, alive. And in this stillness, my dear one, you may finally feel the quiet joy of simply being, simply breathing, simply existing fully, tenderly, gently, without resistance, without expectation, without fear. The gentle flow of letting go. Ah, my dear one, today we speak of letting go. You see, in life we hold so tightly to things. Moments, thoughts, memories, fears, dreams, even people. We clutch them as if releasing them would mean losing ourselves, as if letting go were a kind of failure. But the truth is, holding too tightly creates suffering. Like a bird trapped in a hand, the tighter you squeeze, the more it struggles, the more it hurts, and the more you feel the weight of it. Letting go is not weakness. It is the gentle act of opening your hand, trusting the bird to fly, and realizing that in release there is freedom. In release there is peace. I remember a student who came to me long ago, carrying so many burdens in her heart. She was exhausted, worn out by life's demands, and yet she refused to release even the smallest worry. She said, "Master, if I let go, who will I be? If I stop trying, will the world fall apart?" I looked at her kindly and said, "The world does not fall apart, my child. The world flows. And you, in trying to hold it, are forgetting that you too are part of the flow." Letting go is not about abandoning life. It is about embracing it with an open heart, with hands that are soft, not clenched. There is a story of a river that teaches this beautifully. In spring, the river swells with rain and snow melt, carrying leaves, branches, and small stones in its flow. It does not hold on to anything, even when storms bring debris. The river moves steadily, gracefully, letting everything pass without resistance. This is the wisdom of letting go. The river does not struggle against the current. It does not mourn what it has lost. It simply flows, embracing all that comes and all that departs. In this way, we too can learn to release what clings, what weighs us down, what no longer serves us. Letting go does not mean forgetting or pretending. It does not erase memories or feelings. It simply allows them to rest in their natural place, without forcing them to linger in the heart where they may become heavy. I often tell my students, memories are like clouds in the sky. They appear, they drift, they change shape, and eventually they vanish. Do not try to grab them. Do not try to hold them. Watch them, learn from them, and allow them to pass. The mind often resists this, clinging to familiar pain or familiar joy. But the heart knows the freedom in release. I recall an old monk who suffered greatly from loss. He had loved deeply and lost profoundly. For years, he carried the grief like a stone in his chest. Every day he recited prayers, meditated, and yet the sorrow lingered. One day, sitting beneath a tree, he watched the wind blow the fallen leaves across the ground. And in that simple observation, a thought came to him. The leaves do not cling to the branches. They fall when it is their time. And in letting go, they return to the earth, nourishing new life. The monk understood, slowly, softly, that he too could let go, and in release, find nourishment for his own spirit. Letting go requires trust. Trust in life, trust in the present moment, trust in your own heart. When we try to control everything, we are like children gripping the edges of a fast-moving cart, terrified of falling. But trust allows us to sit gently on the cart, to feel the movement, to notice the scenery, to breathe with it. Trust allows us to release the tight grip on outcomes, to let life unfold naturally. And in this gentle unfolding, we discover that life is not something to be held, but something to be experienced tenderly, moment by moment. I often tell students, you cannot control the wind, the rain, or the rising sun. You cannot hold another's heart or dictate the unfolding of days. What you can do is soften your hands, soften your mind, soften your heart. And in this softness, the miracle of letting go reveals itself. It is not an instant realization. It is not a dramatic transformation. It is the slow, quiet opening of the heart, the gentle release of burdens that we thought were ours to carry forever. Letting go is also a practice of self-compassion. We hold on not only to the external world, but to our own judgments, our own mistakes, our own regrets. We punish ourselves for things we cannot change, for words we said or did not say, for choices we regret. And yet, the heart longs to be free, longs to breathe without the weight of yesterday pressing down. I say to you, my dear one, allow yourself to release even your own harshness. Let the past rest where it belongs. Let your mistakes be teachers, not chains. Let your heart be gentle with itself, as it is gentle with others. I remember teaching a young man who was haunted by failure. He said, "Master, I cannot forgive myself. I cannot let go of what I did wrong." I guided him to sit quietly, to breathe, to notice the sensations of guilt in his body. "Do not push it away," I said. "Do not resist. Simply notice, simply breathe, simply let it be." And slowly, as he watched the feeling without judgment, the tightness in his chest softened. The tears came, and in those tears, a gentle release occurred. Letting go is not denial. It is acknowledgement. It is seeing clearly and choosing freedom over bondage. Ah, my dear one, the practice of letting go is like tending a garden. You pull out the weeds, you water the plants, you nourish the soil. Some things must be removed so that new life can grow. But do this gently. Do not tear. Do not rush. Let the garden respond to your care. The old leaves will fall. The old thoughts will drift. The old fears will soften. And in their place, new shoots of peace, joy, and love will emerge, tenderly, naturally, beautifully. Letting go is also a practice of presence. When we cling to the past or grasp the future, we miss the unfolding of now. The sunlight on the morning grass, the sound of a child laughing, the warmth of a cup in your hands. These moments are here, fleeting and precious. If we hold too tightly to what was or what may be, we cannot notice them. But when we release, even for a moment, we open ourselves to the fullness of this breath, this heartbeat, this life. Presence and release walk hand in hand. There is a story of a fisherman who used to throw nets wildly, trying to catch every fish in the river. He grew tired, frustrated, and empty-handed. Then one day, he watched the river and the fish and simply let the net float gently without force. He waited patiently, observing the water, listening to the rhythm of the river. And slowly, the fish came, willingly, as if drawn to his calmness. Letting go does not mean abandoning effort, but aligning effort with grace, aligning intention with natural flow. And so, my dear one, let us practice together now. Sit quietly, close your eyes, notice your breath, notice the thoughts that cling, the feelings that weigh, the memories that tug at your heart, and gently, softly, imagine releasing them, one by one, like leaves carried away on a gentle stream. You do not push, you do not force, you simply let them float, returning to the current of life. Feel the space opening in your heart, the lightness in your chest, the softness in your hands. Letting go is not a single act. It is a lifelong conversation with the self, with life, with love. Some days it is easy, other days it is difficult, but each day, even the smallest act of release, is a step toward freedom, toward peace, toward the gentle flow of life unburdened. Notice the small victories, the tiny moments of release, the quiet breath that follows a gentle exhale. These are the seeds of a life tender, alive, awake. Ah, my dear one, remember this always. To hold too tightly is to suffer, to let go is to be free. The bird in your hand, the river in your mind, the memories in your heart, all will flow if you allow them. And in this flow, you will discover the tender joy of living lightly, of loving freely, of breathing fully. This is the art, the practice, the grace of letting go. And it is yours always if you choose softly, gently, patiently to embrace it. The gentle completion and peaceful farewell. Ah, my dear one, here we are, at the final part of our long journey together. It feels like we have walked through many valleys, climbed quiet hills, and rested beneath countless trees, sharing the small and tender lessons of life. I want you to take a deep breath now. Feel it fill your chest and slowly exhale, noticing the softness in your body, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the gentle warmth of your being. This is where we pause, not as an ending that leaves emptiness, but as a peaceful completion that carries the essence of everything we have explored. Every story, every quiet reflection, every gentle truth we touched upon along the way. Life, my dear, is much like a long river, isn't it? It flows, sometimes swift and turbulent, sometimes calm and glassy. Along the banks, we see flowers, stones, birds, and old trees. Some branches brush our shoulders, some waves splash our feet, some currents carry us forward before we even realize it. And in all of this, we come to understand slowly that the journey is not about holding tightly to any one moment, nor clinging to the banks, nor resisting the current. It is about feeling, noticing, embracing, and letting life move as it moves. In our conversations, we have explored ways to find peace within ourselves, ways to heal without medicine, ways to let go and still remain present, ways to see clearly the patterns of thought and emotion that shape our lives. And all of these are like tools in your hands, not to fix life, but to dance gently with it. Do you remember, my dear, how we spoke of the breath? The simple, miraculous breath that carries life without asking permission, without effort. Inhale, exhale, again and again, and each time, we are reminded that life is present, that we are alive, that there is a rhythm we can follow softly, without strain. So often, we forget this, don't we? We worry about the future. We mourn the past. We race and chase as if every moment must be conquered. But the breath whispers otherwise. The breath says, Slow down, notice, be here. And it is in this gentle noticing that the heart learns to open fully, that the mind learns to soften, that the spirit learns to smile quietly at the world. Throughout our journey, we have spoken of pain, haven't we? Of loss, fear, doubt, and the heavy weights we carry in the chest. And yet, we also spoke of joy, tenderness, simple wonders, the warmth of sunlight on your face, the laughter of a child, the quiet companionship of a tree in the garden. Life is like this, a weaving together of shadow and light, sorrow and delight, effort and surrender. And the wisdom I wish to leave with you is this: do not fear the shadows, do not cling only to the light. Embrace both, gently, softly, as parts of the same river flowing through your heart. For it is only in embracing the fullness of life, in allowing both sorrow and joy to be seen and felt, that the soul discovers its own peace. I recall an old story of a Zen monk walking along a mountain path, carrying a basket of stones. He paused to rest, and a young student asked, "Master, why do you carry so many stones? Are they not heavy?" The monk smiled softly and said, "Yes, they are heavy, but if I do not carry them now, I will never learn the strength of my hands. Yet I must also know when to put them down, for the journey is long, and the path will teach me when to release." And this, my dear one, is what life teaches us. We gather experiences, lessons, emotions, attachments, dreams. Some of them we carry longer than we need. Some we must release, sometimes with great effort, sometimes with a gentle sigh. And in this balance of holding and letting go, we find grace. Do you remember our talks about the heart and its quiet wisdom? How often we forget that the heart knows before the mind does. It is the gentle guide that whispers, not shouts, the tender compass that points always toward love, compassion, and understanding. Even when the mind worries, when thoughts twist and turn like restless wind, the heart remains soft, steady, patient. And in this soft patience, we discover the deep, abiding peace that cannot be taken by circumstance, cannot be disturbed by noise, cannot be undone by fear. It is there, quietly, waiting for us to notice, to open to it, to rest in it. And so, my dear one, as we reach the end of this path together, I want you to pause and reflect. Think of all the little moments we shared. The quiet breath, the gentle letting go, the soft awareness of life flowing through us. Let them settle in your chest like warm sunlight after a cold night. Let them become the soil from which your continued growth will bloom. The teachings we have explored are not rules, nor tests, nor obligations. They are invitations. Gentle invitations to live more tenderly, more fully, more awake. Take them with you like seeds, and plant them in the quiet corners of your heart. Tend them gently, water them with attention, and watch as life blossoms in ways you cannot predict but can deeply appreciate. Remember also that completion does not mean perfection. It does not mean that you must have solved every problem, healed every wound, or understood every mystery. Completion simply means that you have come to the moment with awareness, with presence, with a willingness to see clearly and feel fully. It means that the journey itself, every stumble, every pause, every quiet breath, has been enough. Enough to guide you forward, enough to teach you, enough to help you carry yourself through the days ahead with a gentle steadiness. There will be days when the mind wanders, when the heart feels heavy, when the river seems too swift or too silent. And in those days, return to the basics we have touched upon. Breathe deeply, notice softly, release what is not yours to carry, embrace what is. Allow life to teach you in its own gentle way, without forcing, without resisting, without fear. And you will find that even the storms, even the shadows, even the uncertainties carry their own kind of quiet wisdom, waiting to be noticed by the tender heart awake to them. I want to leave you with one last thought, my dear. Life is like a lantern in the night. Sometimes the flame flickers, sometimes it burns steadily, sometimes it feels as though the wind might extinguish it. But it is never lost, truly lost, for the lantern is within you. Your awareness, your heart, your breath. These are the eternal flame that guides you gently through the darkness, through the quiet, through the joy, through the sorrow. Carry it tenderly, protect it softly, nurture it with kindness for yourself and others. And know that you are never alone, for the same light that flows through you flows through all beings, all moments, all existence. So now, my dear one, as we finish this final part together, I invite you to sit quietly for a moment, breathe deeply, feel the warmth of your own presence, and smile softly at yourself. Smile at the river of your life, at the garden of your heart, at the simple, miraculous fact that you have arrived here fully, completely, tenderly. Take the lessons, the love, the gentle insights we have shared and carry them lightly, freely, lovingly into each day ahead. Let them guide you, not burden you. Let them nourish you, not weigh you down. And know always that this moment, this breath, this heart is enough. And with this, my dear one, I bow to you with all the warmth and care of a teacher who has walked alongside you. May your path be gentle. May your heart be soft. May your breath be steady. May your life unfold in quiet wonder, in tender joy, in deep peace. And may you always remember, the journey itself is the teacher, and you, my dear one, are exactly where you need to be, exactly as you are, beautifully, fully, wonderfully. This is not the end, only the gentle closing of one chapter. Go now, with peace, with hope, and with a soft, abiding love that has been with you all along.